All right, we get it rolling on the Krueg show after Warrior basketball, and man, I thought that thing was going overtime. And then Sadiq Bey with the green streak in his hair, the Villanova kid, a guy who I'm a huge fan of. I love Sadiq Bey. Hits the game winner, and then may have done something that he's going to hear about. Tell you about that coming up here in a second. But welcome to the Krueg Show. Historic night. I'm Larry Krueger. Normally Dan Coccimilgio and Ryan Smith are here. I believe they will be joining us, but they're, what can I say? They're not ready to go. They're not ready to go. You got to be ready to go. And the audience is, and we are, and Bay Area Ballers here. Eric Price stopping by. It's been a few weeks since Baller's been with us, but Baller, happy holidays, happy New Year's. The first time we're seeing you. And an exciting game tonight. Unfortunately, Isaiah Stewart and Draymond Green tangled late. They got the double technical. Seems like that was avoidable.
Soft.
But
that was a
Green
soft
got
ejection.
Tossed, and who knows if that would have impacted the end. But 122-119 Pistons. Your thoughts?
The Pistons are a bad basketball team, Larry, and I thought the Warriors came out flat. The Pistons are a team, you come out, you punch them in the mouth, they're going to fold. But the Warriors, I thought they came out flat. They're down 8 after the first quarter, gave up 34 in that first quarter. Anytime you let a bad team hang around, you're asking for trouble. I thought the Warriors did play better in the second half. How about these two-way guys, right? These two-way guys have been playing exceptional basketball. Talking
Lamb
Ty
was
Jerome,
big tonight. Yeah, and Jerome
talking
too.
Anthony Lamb. Both of them have been playing outstanding basketball. So it was good to see those guys keep it rolling. Man, I thought we had it. Clay hit a big-time shot. That was after Jordan Poole. I don't know what he was doing in that sequence. Just tried to make a move and just fell on the ground. But that last possession, you mentioned it, Sadiq Bey. There's 1 second on the clock, Larry. I rewound. I watched that play like 6 times in a row to figure out what the heck happened.
He could have shot that 3 times as fast as he got it off. He could have shot that ball 3 more times. It was incredible.
How did he get that separation, Larry? How do you get that much separation with 1 second left on the clock? Well, Ty Jerome was matched up on him. Would he be in the game in that late game situation had Draymond not been ejected? No, he wouldn't be. But Sadiq Bey got some separation from Jerome and chucks it up, and he finished him off.
Yeah, he hoisted. Since Danny is joining us in the house, why don't we throw a little love his way? Big thanks today to one of today's sponsors, Dan Coccimilgio. Everyone who watches the show knows Danny, but what they might not know is that he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist, and you can contact him today. We'll play his spot later on, but you can contact him today by visiting securemoney.com on the web or by calling him at 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world. You want to make sure you're making the right decisions with your money and that your money's secure. Danny's got experience. He's a great guy to talk to about it. He's got over 25 years of experience. He's raised right here in the Bay. So he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So don't forget to visit his website, securemoney.com on the web, or give him a call, 925-628-9966. But don't call after midnight Pacific because he's got Costco wings in the air fryer, and he won't hear the phone. All right.
You better not call tonight because I'm pissed.
He's pissed. He's pissed. We got a lot to get to because, we're going to talk a lot of Warriors, Pistons. We're going to talk some Niners, Cardinals. I saw David Blau is going to start at quarterback. They're saying this is going to be the final game of the Cliff Kingsbury era. No DeAndre Hopkins, likely no James Conner. this looks like a game the 49ers should win, and we were down in Santa Clara today. We'll bring you some of those interviews a little bit later on. As far as the biggest story that everybody around the sports world and beyond is looking on right now is Damar Hamlin. And last thing I saw was Damar Hamlin's condition. They say he is improving. He's still in critical condition. He remains in an intensive care unit, but that his condition is improving. Even that slight bit of good news gives me great hope. So anyway, the other headlines of the night, of course, Bengals Bills, they're saying likely will be canceled. Obviously, that's totally secondary. Red Sox gave huge money today to Rafael Devers, 11 years, $331 million. The Mets deal with Carlos Correa, they say is going to get done, but it's going to look dramatically different. And it begs the question, why couldn't that dramatically different deal have been with the orange and black? And that's it. So that's really the headlines of the night. So anything you want to chat about, feel free. This is a huge night for the channel, as I was telling Baller before we got rolling here, because as we start the show on this Wednesday night, we have 9,929 subscribers. So we are 71 subscribers away from reaching the 10,000 subscriber plateau, and we will have done it in less than a year because we started this thing really first week of March. And I'm incredibly, I'm incredibly humbled by all the support, and obviously we love the show and hope you guys are loving it as well. I have put in some requests for some big name Niners later this week. We'll see if that comes through. That would be a huge get for the channel. But the other little controversy, and I think was it Dandy that you sent me the video? Anyway, but before we get to the video, I just want to say, if we can get to 10,000 subscribers tonight, I don't know. Do you think we can? 71 away. If you are in the chat right now, if you're on the live stream right now and you're not yet subscribing, all you got to do is subscribe. It doesn't really cost anything. It doesn't actually cost a penny. It will just alert you every time we're going to do a show. So just hit like and subscribe. Like to help grow the show's algorithm. Just kind of all those likes helps grow the show. And then subscribe. You hit the subscribe box, and then of course you want to be a special club member. I give special club members some background stuff. We're going to start increasing that. We have already this week. So that's like $4.99 a month. But we would love you to subscribe to the Krueg Show for free and just consume our content. We talk a lot of Niners, a lot of Giants, and obviously a lot of post-game Warriors. Now, now Danny joining us, Bay Area Baller's been with us. Rye will jump in. Guys, what do you think about the game overall? Detroit led, basically 34-26 after one. They came out blistering hot. They shot 67% in the first quarter, and they out-rebounded Golden State 12-5, and they got out to a big lead. Bogdanovich led the way in the first quarter. He had double digits with 10. And then at half, Detroit's still leading 60-56. They're +4 on the glass. Bogdanovich had 17 at the break. And the Warriors, closed it with Klay Thompson had some big plays at the end. And, Klay Thompson's dunk was Golden State's, I think, first lead right around 7:33 to play in the game to make it 99-98. I'm not sure if that was the first lead, but that was the first lead in a long time. Then Stewart and Green wind up tussling, and they get the double tech, which kept Stewart in the game and tossed Green because he had got one earlier. Then Klay hits the big three to tie the game 119-119. And you're thinking, okay, we're going overtime. There's only 1 second left. And then as Baller described the final sequence there, Saddiq Bey throws one up. Now, I think Danny sent me the video. Either Saddiq Bey spit on the court or spit his gum out on the court. I'm trying to decide if either is okay. We have the video. Danny, can you put the video up? Danny, you're muted.
I don't know how to get it to where it's except from my phone.
When Rye gets in here, we'll show the video.
Yeah, because
I've already sent it. I sent it to Guru. Guru sent me back a thing saying he thought it was gum. But
Yeah,
he
it looked like it might have
clearly
been gum.
either had a bunch of spit in his mouth and spit on the floor on the way out, or he spit his gum out on the floor on the way out. I don't know about you, but if you've ever stepped in
Yeah, that's
recently
disrespectful.
chewed gum,
Yeah, that pisses me off.
That's a major thing. I don't do that at good golf courses.
Yeah.
I sure as hell wouldn't do that indoors
On
on a wood
basketball court?
floor.
Yeah,
How disrespectful. Somebody's going to have to peel your gum off the floor before they put that floor away tonight. If you're lucky that with all the people who work around the floor and are sitting courtside, that nobody actually steps on it, that easily could happen as well. But that's disrespectful, dude. You throw your gum. I mean, what's worse to you guys? He spit or it's gum?
Spitting.
Spitting's worse?
Yeah, it's kind of a sign. Like spitting is like a
he spit his gum.
Yeah, but spitting
it's kind of both at the same time.
Saliva is kind of like,
would you rather step in spit or step in gum?
Well, I'd rather step in the spit, but I'm saying
thank you. I think you can make an argument that spitting gum is worse than spit.
But I think spitting your own spit is kind of like saying, F you to
it's both. I think both of them are huge disrespect. I mean, am I overblowing this? I'm not trying.
No, when I saw it, I went back and rewound it and videoed it with my phone. I was like, did he just spit? I asked my wife. I was like, look at that. And
that was when he was super animated at the end of the game.
No, it was after the buzzer. After he had already celebrated the shot.
It was later, and they were walking off the floor. And
he looked like he was right around mid-court.
Yeah, and I'll tell you,
that ain't right.
I don't know. I just, the whole night to me was the Pistons' motto is better to be lucky than good, because they were hitting threes that they shouldn't have been hitting tonight, that were just answered prayers, because they don't normally hit that high. And I know at any games, I mean, geez, Oklahoma City scored 150 the other night on was it the Bucks or somebody?
Some of the scoring around the league, some of the individual scoring has just been outrageous.
Yeah. But or maybe it was Brooklyn. Yeah. No, it was Boston. They scored 150 on Boston. They beat them by 35, something like that. Crazy. So, I just think that, it was a tough loss. The Warriors are doing all this without Curry, without Wiggins. They could have used Wiseman down there in the post tonight for some, defense. But gosh, the whole thing with Wiseman's starting to bug me a little. The guy got hurt in practice on ankle. Like, he's got all this opportunity to play with all these guys out, and he gets hurt again.
How good was Jalen Duren, who had 18 and 11 tonight? That kid, they both played at Memphis. I love Duren. I mean, Duren's just a crazy, crazy athlete, ridiculous hops. He had a couple finishes tonight that were like, are you kidding me? The Warriors definitely lack some athleticism and obviously they're missing Steph, they're missing Wiggins, they're missing their two best players. They're also missing size with Wiseman and Kuminga, and athleticism and length. So it was going to be a challenging night for sure. Anthony Lamb, guys, I thought, it seemed like he made a number of big plays tonight, and I'm not a big Anthony Lamb fan, but how do you deny what he did tonight? I mean, he seemed like he made a number of big shots. He plays the game the right way. He looked really good, I thought, throughout. Let me look at the box as far as his stats. He played 28 minutes. He had 17, and it was a very efficient 17, 6 of 9, 3 of 5 from beyond the arc. Took only 2 free throws, made them both. Only had a couple
He kept
rebounds
him in the game in that
assists.
first half, Larry.
Yeah,
he kept him in the game.
And Jerome was good too. Jerome had 18. I kind of like the way Jerome looks with this team. I like the fact that he's a ball handler with some length and can run the pick and roll. And I don't know about the outside shot. It needs some work, but I like him with the ball in his hands. But this was another game. Poole was 3 of 10. He was very inefficient. He was 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. He was 9 of 22. He's playing really fast. His numbers, if you look at the box, you'll go, 24 points, 5 boards, 6 assists, great night, +4. But I don't know. I mean, tonight he only had 3 turnovers, so that's good because he's had many nights where he's had a lot more. But it seems like there's some inconsistency there in his game. Thompson continues to play tremendous ball. I mean, my goodness, Klay Thompson had 30 after having over 50 the other night. 15 more boards tonight for Looney. So I thought Baldwin looked pretty good. I like Baldwin. He had 5 points in 11 minutes and 3 rebounds. But the shot with Baldwin, he just hit that 1-3 of the 3 that he took. But the Warriors, he looks like he knows how to play. But give me your guys' thoughts on this one. I mean, I think Detroit this is a game that I don't care if you're banged up or not. You're at home. You should be beating Detroit. And it's not just Detroit. It's Detroit without their star.
Cade Cunningham.
There's no Cade Cunningham tonight. So I don't know. I mean, to me, to lose at home to the Pistons, who are, we're 5-17 on the road coming into tonight, that's a bad loss.
This was a tough one in the sense for the Warriors because they were down a little bit manpower, and then that game against Atlanta took them a lot out of them emotionally. It was almost like a back-to-back in a way, even though they had a day off. I expect them to come back strong Saturday night against Atlanta or Orlando, and then Tuesday night to close out the homestand against Phoenix. I think Wiggins will be back probably by the Phoenix game. He's just getting his win back because he was ill a little bit. So he's healthy as far as he's just got to get back in basketball shape. So, hopefully they can get the rest of their guys back. They said Curry's coming back, they think probably for San Antonio, which is a week from
Friday,
something like that. And then Kuminga, somebody said he was in a walking boot in the chat. I didn't see that, but
I did. Yeah, he did have a boot on.
Okay, so
what's that? That's a foot injury he's got.
Sprained foot. Yeah,
sprained foot. Okay, well, at least it's not like a plantar fasciitis type thing. But
the best player on the court tonight, fellas, Bojan Bogdanovic. How smooth did that guy look out there? He was just hitting mid-range. I think it was 5 of 6 from distance.
Yeah,
Bogdanovic was the best player on the court tonight.
They're going to trade him, they say. But he makes a boatload of cash. I think he makes like $18 million a year.
Yeah.
Well, he was worth every penny tonight. And the Pistons have an old school, couple of young guys, but it's like an old school front court with Duren and Stewart, just 2 big, long, physical, athletic guys. Felt more of like a tandem from the early 2000s.
Totally. Yeah, they've got length and athleticism inside, and it's like they're not there yet, but you can see the pieces coming together, and they'll be in the Wembanyama sweepstakes in the lottery. And
Jaden Ivey looked pretty good tonight. That guy was getting to the rim.
Jaden Ivey's got great explosiveness. The guy that I think they at least they say they may move, and we'll see, is the guy with the game winner tonight, Saddiq Bey. And, in a way, I think in some ways I really like Saddiq Bey's game to the point where if the Pistons are thinking young, right? If they're really thinking young, like, going super young and maybe even tanking, towards the second half of the year for, they've got such a young team. And if they really are interested in moving Bey, I think I would offer them Moses Moody and a pick, or Moses Moody and something else, and see if I could get a guy like that. Because to me, that kind of addition, even though it seems kind of like, what does that do, right? Moses Moody for Saddiq Bey, you're going wing for wing. But Moody is like still kind of a projection and is not going to do it every night, where Bey is more established. And I just think that he would give them another a player in his prime that can hit a big shot, that can play a little bit more physical, that can play with a little bit more, aggression and what's the word that Kerr always uses? He's like, instead of being passive, be assertive out there. I think a guy like Sadiq Bey with his basketball IQ and his multifaceted skills would be the Moody for Sadiq Bey trade would make a lot of sense. That's all I'm saying. What do you guys think?
I'm not the biggest fan of Sadiq Bey. I don't know. It's always tough when you got these teams like Detroit. You can't really even tell if, are these guys winning players or are they just stuck in a crap situation? But I don't know. I kind of just have a gut feeling that Sadiq Bey is not really like the idea of Sadiq Bey is always better than Sadiq Bey. Like I think of him and I'm like, oh, big, can hit threes, but then you look at it and the reality is he shoots like 31 from three. I think he's like 40 from the field or something like that. Yeah. So I don't know.
What do you guys think? What do you think, Baller? What do you think, Danny? You like the idea of Golden State adding a, kind of an athletic 3-4 wing to their mix to try to get over the top this year at the deadline?
Anytime you can get a big athletic wing, wings are at a premium right now in the NBA. I'd kick the tires on it. I mean, Bey, he got to the rim a couple times tonight in explosive fashion. Actually, Anthony Lamb was guarding him. Thought Lamb played good defense for the most part, but Sadiq Bey was able to convert, with some physicality, get to the rim. We saw him hit the game winner, although that seemed like it was a little bit of luck involved in that hoist. But yeah, I'd be intrigued.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, that I watched that thing about 3 or 4 times. That game winner.
Give it to Rye, by the way. Send Rye the Sadiq Bey video.
Yeah,
Did you see it, Rye?
Got it.
Am I cool to pull her up?
Yeah, but I don't think there's any sound, so I think you can just play the video of it. We just want to show people the image of it.
Yeah, that play, I ran my stopwatch on it on the 5 count. As soon as he handed the ball to the inbounder, I started my stopwatch, and as soon as he released it, I let go, or I stopped it. I did it twice. First time was 5.25 seconds, and the second time was 5.1. So it was definitely a 5-second count. Malloy handed the ball, and then he didn't start counting right away. I used to officiate. He handed the ball, and then he started his count.
Yeah, it was like a good 8 or 9 seconds.
No, it was only 5. It was just over 5. It was like 5 and 0.1 to 5 and a quarter, but it was a 5 count. The other thing that they messed up on that was Looney played a great game, but he let Bey get past him in the 3-point. He was playing the ball, the inbound. He should have saw Bey come behind him and slid into the passing lane, and then there would have been no one to throw the ball to, and then it would have been definitely a 5-second count.
I thought Ty Jerome needed to close the space. I don't know how Sadiq Bey got that much separation on Ty Jerome. Jerome was guarding him.
Yeah, and Jerome was behind him, though.
Well, he's got to get closer to him.
Yeah, he was behind him because Bey was asking for the ball kind of over on the wing of the 3, kind of, and then he slit through this and came out where he caught the ball, but that's where Looney needed to shift to the passing lane, because if he had done that, he would have either deflected it. There's no way he would have got the shot up. But that's also communication on Looney may not have seen him, and Jerome had to say, "Hey, behind you, move."
And Jerome's not on the court if Draymond Green doesn't get ejected, which I thought it was a soft tee in the first place.
Yeah,
I don't know what he said. It was a soft tee to start, and then it was a weak ejection. The whole thing. If I was Draymond, I probably would.
Well, the ejection. I mean, the ejection is part of their rules, right? I mean, I hate these rules that force the players off the floor. It's like, have some discretion here. I mean, if a guy gets multiple techs, that's one thing if you want to say if it's like in the flow of the game, but have a different category for something like this. I mean, this was absolutely just 2 guys tangling at the end. It wasn't like anybody's throwing any blows. You got to go double technical, and then subsequently you get the ejection there. It seems very punitive. What if that had been in the early third quarter? What if that's your best player? I mean, is that the precedent now that anytime guys have some kind of thing, boom, double technical. They can't just separate them and be like,
you
know,
can't figure out by the film that he was the aggressor. What's his name?
Yeah, determine the aggressor or determine there's none.
Yeah,
but
either
just
call it
automatically.
Nothing that's a chicken call.
It is. Well, it's not chicken. It's like it's not a good call because the NBA is a star league, and that could happen to Steph Curry, and it could be a big game.
Well, what I thought immediately after, Larry, I thought Warriors should just grab the guy's shirt. He's got one T, pull his shirt, see if he retaliates. Get them both, send in a goon.
Is that exactly? Is that going to be protocol for the rest of the year? Is any time a good player on another team gets teed up in a game, you just then tangle with them later with some scrabini, and then all of a sudden when some bench guy starts grabbing his jersey and he grabs his jersey back, double technical.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the
NBA.
Gone. That's what you set up.
Jaw. Could you imagine that? I mean, why would that not be a strategy?
Sure, I would do it if I was a coach. I'd say, "Hey, get off the bench, dude. Go rough him up and just protect your face. Watch out for I wouldn't want to do it with that Stewart man. That's the dude that chased LeBron, isn't it?
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Anyway, if you can show the video, I'd love to see Baller to see it. It looks like gum, I would say, but even gum, I mean, come on, man.
Wait, Dan, where'd you film that from?
My TV. I rewound it and then I put my phone up to it, the TV close. It was just right after the game.
Nick J says Draymond's pod is back after 40 games. Yeah. Warriors made him sit it out on the pod for half the season. Do you think the Warriors told him, or you think he just decided, maybe I'll chill with the podcast and just focus on the floor? I love the way Draymond's playing, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, it's like maybe we get. I wonder what we'd have to.
There
do
might
to
be
Draymond
sound. You might want to turn that down, or
yeah.
But yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. I mean, to me, I would, if you really did spit your gum out on the floor. I mean, that's bad. I would say that at least he should issue some kind of an apology, because I mean, that's you're not on a field. You're not,
I hate to be disagreeable, but I'm just watching what Dan said, and I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing anything.
Or you think he didn't? I didn't see anything fly out, any projectile.
I think he's just talking. He probably had some like spit in his mouth, so it looked like that because he had his mouth guard in.
But you could see his mouth go like in the spitting motion.
You don't think he based on that? You don't think he?
Look at this again.
I think he spit something out.
That's what I thought.
I mean, I got the video here that Danny sent me.
Spitgate. Cue Spitgate.
Yeah, I have to convert it. Unfortunately. If you could find it on Twitter, that would be a little quicker.
You didn't see it in the tweet, or you do? Oh, it's just hard to convert it. Oh, I see.
Maybe he didn't. I don't know. God, I thought it looked like he was spitting something. Man, if that, okay. So if that is an optical illusion, that's the second Warriors optical illusion in the last 24 hours. Did you guys see the Draymond bounce pass to Clay?
Yeah.
Basically between like a couple limbs, and to such a perfect degree that it was like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was
bizarre.
Unbelievable. I've watched that video from that angle 25 times.
I know. I keep loaded up from Atlanta, from the Atlanta game.
From the Atlanta game, Draymond, top of the key, facing the bucket, has the ball. Clay runs behind him. He goes a little bounce pass right down, perfect bounce pass to Clay in rhythm. And when you look at it from the side, because the arms and everything cross, you can't really see. You can't see it.
MF, love the McKivitz video. Yeah, that was I put up the wrong one. Okay, here we go. I don't know how well this is gonna. Oh, we should probably take the comment off.
Yeah, let me get the comment.
Yeah, I mean, he looks like Dre Greenlaw. He looks like he has like a lipper in or something.
Let me see. Where's the comment?
Yeah.
Is it just the fact that he looked down as he was?
Maybe it's just I thought I saw something white come out of his mouth And it looked like he spit. So,
He could have spit. I mean, I feel like
But
a
he
little bit of spit is cool. Like, you know.
Let's see. Oh, he's lining. Look at the teeth. That's kind of the slit. Do the. Let's see.
What?
I mean, you can spit,
What?
and then
That's
as long
what?
as you then put your sneakers on it and make that sound on the hardwood. That's what I'm talking about.
Here, just play it full speed instead of slow down because it's.
Wait. Here's the spit. If he did it, here it is.
No. It was the first motion down.
Oh.
Here, watch. Here it goes.
Hard to tell, but
Yeah, that is hard to tell.
I'm not seeing much.
I think he's just talking to himself.
I know. Not in this angle. For some reason, the one that Danny showed me, I thought he looked like he spit. I'll take it back. All the more reason. Trade for Saddiq Bey. He's not the kind of guy who would spit on our floor.
I know.
He makes a spitting motion, but he would never spit, and he did not spit.
Maybe he just spat out a tooth.
yeah.
He had a reason.
I had
to talk
heard the
big
Warriors really like Saddiq Bey in the pre-draft process. Now, who knows how much of that is smokescreen? Did any of you guys hear about that?
Yeah.
In the lead up.
Yeah, well, I mean, they love that program.
I concur.
Right? They love Nova.
Yeah.
Cheshire
Cat. He spit.
Cheshire Cat.
I also don't give an F.
That's funny. I feel the same way. I mean, also, it's like Steph Curry did kind of throw his mouth guard at a fan. But I guess maybe everything's a little bit different now post-COVID.
That's Steph, man. Steph can do what he wants.
Steph can do
right?
what he wants.
I mean,
That was after a bad call.
that fan would be like honored to be hit by that mouth guard from Steph. Oh, it's Steph? Oh, I got hit by the mouth guard. Yes. I don't know, man. Maybe not.
So, I mean, are you guys like bummed out at the way because I just heard you guys talking about that. Are you bummed out at the way that they defended that last play?
Well, it did. I mean, first of all, give Bey credit in that he got it off with plenty of time to spare. I mean, it wasn't like, he could have made himself a sandwich in between there. I mean, it was amazing. His catch and release was just lightning fast. He had a lot more time than that.
Yeah,
so,
he got it off with like 0.5, 0.6 seconds.
Yeah, he got that off so smoothly and quickly. He just created space. I mean, I'd have to see the defensive alignment again and see where their error was. But yeah, I mean, you can't give a guy that off an inbounds pass that good of an open and you got to hound him to the point where the pass has to be him going away from the inbounder, not stepping into a perfect hoist shot uncontested. So
you
just got to close down that space and challenge him.
Talking about bad defense, the Pistons, the fact that they let Clay get that look, that's really like the one that's bad because they were down 3. The Saddiq Bey one doesn't bother me at all. It's just like he made the shot. I mean, it was a tie game and he shot a falling away 3. Like that's why if people were, hung on him tight,
he doesn't get it off. He kind of shot it low. Didn't he?
Sorry, what?
Didn't he? It looked like he kind of hoisted it, like he shot it low. So
it was like
a space.
Total prayer shot.
He's got a weird release, Bey does anyway.
Yeah. I think it's pretty good in 2K.
He's 6'8" though. See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
When you're a 6'8" player and you're shooting the ball from distance, it's hard to defend shooters with that kind of height. It's just a softer release, and they don't have, they can. It's it's like they're not shooting it as far. So he's a big guy with long arms.
Sorry, Larry. I thought the more egregious mental lapse in terms of letting up a 3-pointer happened, I want to say with 2 or 3 minutes. Bogdanovich was going to the rim, and DiVincenzo completely left Alec Burks wide open in the corner. It was completely unnecessary. That was a mental lapse. DiVincenzo had been playing well the last couple weeks, but tonight was not his best effort.
You know what? That's a great point, Baller. Not just for that one instance. There was a great article in ESPN on the cover story the other day about how the Warriors, like the first team since the Sonics, in the late 70s to be like awesome at home, terrible on the road. And one of the things they pointed to as far as the biggest disparity home and road for Golden State was their ability to defend the 3-point line, and that they really defend the 3-point line at home, but on the road, there's all kinds of guys who get open 3-point looks. And I think they shoot like 41% teams do on the road from the 3-point distance, and like 25% at home. I mean, it's really dramatic difference. So that was the kind of sequence that we see a lot on the road where they kind of lose track of a guy.
I was bummed because Poole turned that ball over at the end of the game when they had the chance for the final shot. They were down by 1, and it was 117, 116. In the live betting, I took the Warriors to win with the under 236.5. So a bucket, even a 3 I still would have won. And he turns the ball over, but we didn't get. Then we got to see that exciting shot by Clay. How clutch was that? That was
so sick. I mean, this was you know what this team is? It's very 2021 Giants without Steph. I mean, like all of a sudden, like what the hell? How are they winning all these games with these guys? And all these guys are starting to step up. All of a sudden, Klay Thompson is kind of like Crawford and Belt. It's like we thought maybe he lost it a little bit. Now he's dropping 50, hitting clutch threes.
That was just a beautiful catch and shoot stroke, though. I mean, that was nothing but net.
One of the things they're getting,
awesome.
Yeah, one of the things they're getting pretty consistently is they're getting like nightly scoring from somebody that you don't think of as a scorer off their bench. You know, one night it's Kuminga. In Brooklyn, it was Wiseman. Tonight they got 18 out of Jerome and 17 out of Lamb.
That's where we're getting into 2021 Giants territory.
Yeah, I mean, that's when guys are starting to kind of do more than they really, and maybe there's a freedom. Maybe they feel like there's a freedom without Steph. When Steph's on the floor, you know that the game plan within the 24-second shot clock is to work it back around to Steph. So maybe that makes you a little bit more tentative. I think it would make me more tentative if I was a young player playing on a team that had guys where, you want to get them as many shots as possible, so I don't know. It in some ways, I think the Steph time off for, whatever it's been, 12 games, 13 games, is going to wind up being a great thing for Golden State, because it kind of forces everybody to kind of up their game and figure it out. And then now you've got this ultimate offensive weapon, the most dominant offensive player the league's ever seen, who's going to pop back in and just immediately start playing great. And I'm eager to see what the team looks like then. Robert Boyd says, here's $5. My Bulls beat the Nets tonight, though Draymond definitely didn't deserve the ejection. There you go, Robert Boyd. Thank you for the $5, Robert Boyd.
Thanks, Robert.
What did you guys think of the ejection? It was weird. It was like started with the grab of a jersey, and then it seems like Stewart escalated it to the point where it had to be a technical foul situation. I'm surprised they gave double text there, because it did seem pretty obvious that Stewart, really ramped the thing up when he pulled Green's jersey right to him. Did you think? I mean, that to me was major aggressive move there.
Especially the second move. Yeah. I mean, the first one where he pulled and then Draymond pulled it back. If that happens, you just say nothing. That's just a no call. But the fact that he got more aggressive and got in Green's face, that's showing that he's the aggressor. And Green was like, knew he had a T already. So he was like, hey, I'm not doing nothing, And then for them to make that a double technical foul, to me, is just copping out, just completely copping out. Either call it on one guy or don't call it at all, because that double T thing, unless, the second move to me was the one that was the aggressive move when he got in Green's face.
No question. Okay, so we got the Warriors to talk about. We've got more to get into there. Niners play the Cardinals this weekend. MF has an interesting chat here, guys, and I don't know if you guys have any insight on this, But he says, why are the Philadelphia Eagles favored by 14 over the New York Giants in Week 18? Is Brian Daboll resting some guys?
I believe he is.
What do you think? What do you think there? Because Daboll
they
basically
asked him.
said he wasn't.
He's not.
Yeah.
He's not going to rest guys. But they I think they actually are like, okay, Eagles max motivated. Hurts is coming back.
I'll take those 14 right now. I might tease that to 21 and a half.
I already took it. I took it that stream when we brought it up.
Down? You think that number's going down? Is that what you're saying? Is that why you took it?
I mean, I think if it's going to go somewhere,
didn't it?
Yeah, if it's going to go somewhere, it's going to go down for sure.
I might have to take that one.
21 and a half. You better get it tonight, Danny. You don't on the 7.5 point teaser. I mean, I'd take the G-men with 21 and a half and feel great going into that game. I think New York's got a good chance to win it. I mean, Philly's not playing well right now.
I mean, if you're the Giants too, it's like it's not like they're the Chiefs or even Philly or the Niners, like where it's like, okay, you know what? Let's rest our guys this last week. The big thing's the playoffs. You're not going to do anything in the playoffs. But if they want to, win a playoff game and maybe, scare someone in a second round, they need to keep this momentum going. Daniel Jones needs to stay, he needs to stay in the zone he's in right now, which is kind of shocking, honestly. I think that their best chance is to play their guys, try and beat this Philly team. You see it with the Warriors, like, winning's a habit, winning's contagious. So if they can, get a little hot going in.
Yeah,
Saquon's the one player that I could see them kind of easing up on Saquon a little bit.
Take him out.
At least that makes sense in my mind.
Yeah,
but
you got to give your
what that spread means is Jalen Hurts is playing. That's what that 14-point spread's telling me.
Which is, I mean, he was practicing.
If he takes a big sack or hit to that shoulder, it could
a sack tap.
That's a good point.
It could knock him out of the playoffs. The teams after the 49ers 0-14. So the Raiders are playing the Chiefs this week. If the Chiefs somehow lose that game, I'm going to say right here, something funny's happening.
Something funny?
Yeah, just with the league.
Wait. What are you saying? What kind of funny things are going on?
I don't know. I just started thinking they got to figure out how to.
Are you calling conspiracy theory on the?
Oh, you're saying if the Chiefs lose this one, then it's like they got
funny
called
business
into the league that because of the Bills Bengals thing.
Something with the Bills.
I don't think the Bills or Bengals like give a crap at this point. Like after all that,
I don't think they probably do at this point. But it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing with that.
Well, from what I read, I mean, and this is what I'd read just right before the show, was that they're leaning towards cancellation of that game, so not playing it at all. Which doesn't
if they end up meeting in the playoffs for the 2-3, that would be at Buffalo. Because KC would be the 1 seed because they'd have the better record.
Yeah, no, KC would be the 1 seed here. The team that would benefit if by cancellation, I guess in some ways would be KC.
Patrick Mahomes has never won a road playoff game.
Wow, and he wouldn't have to play one.
Never has had to. The
only game he's lost is the Super Bowl to Tampa, right?
Well, or other than he did lose he lost to the Pats that 1 year in Arrowhead. He lost last year to the Bengals. But yeah, they've all been at home. I don't know. They might lose to the Raiders, honestly. Kansas City is funny that way. They're really kind of effing around playing with fire, it seems like, these past 5 weeks. Whatever they did where they got so up for the Niners and they brought their A+ game, they're doing the exact opposite with every other team. They're just kind of squeaking these games out. And the Raiders also, I mean, they have a lot to play for. McDaniels wants to end on a good note. What I already forget is Stidham. Stidham, who knows? Maybe Stidham balls.
Jarrett Stidham looked great last week. What do you guys think of this one? Shuey Cassis says Eagles are in panic mode if they start Hurts. If you're Nick Sirianni and you think Hurts is 85%, do you start him in this game, or do you? Because then you risk getting him more hurt and costing your season more. I mean, do you want rest here, or do you not believe in Minshew to be able to get the job done? I mean, they just lost to the Saints. I didn't even watch that game, but I don't know how much of it was Minshew. It was probably some Minshew, but I mean, it wasn't all Minshew, right?
Minshew played pretty poorly, but just overall, yeah, they just kind of laid an egg.
What
I think he'll just play
Philly?
more. I think Jalen's going to play, but here's the thing: is like I almost want, if I'm going to bet on the Giants, I almost want Hurts to play because I don't think I think that what makes him so great is all the running stuff in addition to the pocket passing. I think they're just going to use him as a pocket passer. They're essentially going to just they're not going to run the Jalen Hurts offense. They're going to run the Gardner Minshew offense unless it gets into like a super high leverage situation at the end and maybe he'll run. But I think they're just going to try and see what they can do just passing from the pocket.
Yeah, that shoulder is not 100%.
Kayvon Thibodeau. That's all I'll say. Kayvon Thibodeau. I mean, the guy might be one of the. I mean, Bosa's the defensive player of the year, but is there any edge rusher hotter than it seems like the last 4 or 5 games in Kayvon Thibodeau?
Oh, I know.
He's flying off the edge, so be careful if you're Hurts. Hate to see Hurts get hurt. Really,
it'd be a real shame.
And Dexter Lawrence is having a hell of a year too.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
What if big old Dexter Lawrence falls on that shoulder? It's game over.
It's over.
It's game over. The Niners will be taking on the Cardinals in Week 18. David Blau will start for the Cardinals. DeAndre Hopkins, they say, is definitely out. James Conner's got a shin injury. He did not practice on Wednesday. Elijah Mitchell for the Niners is back at practice. Brock Purdy has been incredible so far, 10 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Deebo Samuel was a full practice participant today in Santa Clara. As far as who didn't practice today, no Aaron Banks, no Nick Bosa, but he's not hurt, just a rest day. No Garoppolo, no Givens, no Dre Greenlaw, no Javon Kinlaw. Christian McCaffrey sat it out. Trent Williams got kind of just the Veterans Day off.
I hear McCaffrey may not play got an ankle a little bit in the second half of the game.
Ankle and a knee. So
wait, not to be super insensitive here, but what are they going to do for? It doesn't affect me at all, but like for like fantasy, like how is Yahoo and ESPN like? I mean, it was championship weekend, and like, what if you were down 3 and you had Jamar Chase and now you just don't?
I guess the only fair thing in that situation would maybe go back. I mean, that's not fair, but I mean, maybe
projections. Give them the projections.
I would say either.
That's good.
I would say
good,
maybe
you could extrapolate out what had happened so far in that game, but that could get super crazy.
I think it would be one of those things where you would go erase everybody for the week and go back and give the winners based on like a 3-week average or something like that. Like the last 3 weeks for your lineup would have scored this. I mean, that seems a little bit more fair than just. I don't know, but that I mean, if you ran the thing, you were trying to get the most fair outcome. I think the most fair outcome is to reward the team that has the players that produce the most consistently. So, not this kind of,
how about this?
I like Dan's. Give him the projection.
I mean, commissioners are on the hot seat.
Projections are so crappy in these.
Yeah, and then I'd be pissed if I was the guy who lost.
How faulty the projections are.
Well, they could. That's kind of, they're either a little lower than the projection or more, depending on. But they're pretty close to what.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think if I was like the commissioner of, some like high stakes league and like it came down to something like that, I think I would probably, unfortunately, say whoever actually won, you're the winner, but like profits should, or like, the winning money should be split like 60-40 or something like instead, because that's not cool.
I mean, of course, nobody cares. It's all secondary.
Yeah.
Kevin F says life's not fair.
It's kind
Kevin
of
F says just take the L and suck it up.
But like, what if
Randall
you're like
says
Matthew
it's
Berry?
lost.
Like, what if you're Matthew Berry or one of these guys whose their career is fantasy football and they're in like 12 leagues and all they talk about is fantasy football, and then just it all leads up to the fantasy champ? I just can't imagine.
It's such a hard thing to kind of talk about the league with everything going on.
Kevin, I do not give a shit. I'm honestly just interested. Like, I feel like it's just it's like that dog on the fire. It's all on fire in meme, and he's like, it's fine. That's Matthew Berry right now.
But I think the thing, Robert Boyd says, you guys see Red Sox. Yeah, Rafael Devers, 11 years, 331. He's off the board. So thanks for the $5 to me.
Yeah, Fitzgerald is right.
It's kind of like, what's Fitzgerald saying here? Just alter the lineup. Oh yeah. I think with the whole thing going on, it's hard to talk about, but we live in a world where sadly, life has to go on, whatever, and this is a tough situation. But when you get back down to the league, I mean, the teams are all practicing, they're out there doing their thing. What do you do in the playoff situation? If you cancel that Cincinnati Buffalo game, now Baltimore has no shot at winning the division. Because I
don't think they care. I think they'll just cancel it.
I mean, there's no way. Baltimore or
somebody
the league?
The league. I think the league would rather. I mean, think about it this way. What's more important to the league? That they may have to, have their teams live with some situation that's not 100% equitable because of this personal tragedy, or move their sacred Super Bowl back 1 week. There's no chance in hell there, even though it would make total sense to just say, oh, we'll just move the Super Bowl back a week and move everything back a week. That's
just give them both ties.
It's like it's a dome. It doesn't matter. The ending of the football season is totally arbitrary. It's not like it's baseball where it's getting too cold to play or anything. No,
but think about like all the sponsorships, all the flights, all the tickets.
No, I know they would never do it. They won't do it because there's just the logistical everything that goes into putting on a game of that magnitude.
Push the playoffs back 1 week. You got that extra week between the Super Bowl, and then you have that.
I think
I just don't think
they'd rather cancel.
It's probably going to get canceled. It'll be interesting because likelihood is Buffalo will meet up against Cincinnati in round 2, and now it would be at Buffalo. So to me, I don't know. Start the game 7-3 Cincinnati.
I say just give them both a tie. That's just the cleanest.
Yeah, they'll just get a tie or no contest, and it'll just be whatever happens. I mean, maybe it'll all just work out in the way. That's probably all you can do at this point.
And Burrow and Josh Allen, they don't give a shit. They'll go on the road. They don't care.
I think this is the solution.
Yeah,
paper, rock, scissors. It always worked as a kid. Paper, rock, scissors.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I always went paper because the people I think the most common of paper, rock, scissors is the rock. I'll go with the rock. So everybody quickly goes rock. Then you go paper. Ah, there you go. Goodbye, rock. All right. You know what I mean? You gotta have a strategy. In these things. Paper, rock, scissors. What do you go? Baller? Do you go scissors?
Well, Lair.
Because nobody ever goes paper. People either go scissors or they go rock.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Live on air.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
He was both scissors.
Oh, you beat me. I had the fist. I had the rock. Damn!
There it is.
Wow. The things we can do on this stream. Could never do rock, paper, scissors on the radio.
No, you never could. And that's the limitations.
We actually should do like some sort of like tournament of some sort of like thing like that, visual thing.
Yeah, some trivia. Get some trivia going.
How do you guys feel right now about just kind of, we back away from the Warriors, we back away from the Niners, we give them kind of instead of getting in the micro, back away and kind of look at the macro. Give me your macro on the Niners, your macro on the Warriors, because I love where the Warriors are at. I really do. I think Warriors, you said to me, what do you want to see from the Warriors? I want to see them get like a top 6 seed, and I want to see them figure out the rotation and play the young guys and have good chemistry and just have a good vibe and some young guys contributing to the rotation. And that's it. They get into the playoffs as a 6 seed, and they got their, their Kumingas and their Wisemans and their Moody's in a rotation. And, they've got nice little contribution going, a good flow, good vibes. I like Golden State to come out of the West. I think they get a hell of a shot to go back to back. I'm not worried at all about Golden State. Give me your macro view on the Warriors. We'll start there.
Well, I'll start. I just go against whatever Monica McNutt says. She's all worried about the Warriors again. Like last year, she wrote him off, and she's like,
"Who's Monica McNutt?"
Oh, ESPN. She's that lady on with Stephen A. at times. No, in all seriousness, I agree with Larry. I see this team as they're going to peak at the right time. They're getting guys, rest as they will. The Warriors, when someone's hurt, they take the long road. They don't rush them back. Wiggins probably could have come back earlier, and then he got sick. They just want rest for these guys. Wiggins played his biggest season last year as far as, almost 100 games. He'd never played anything like that. So, they're going to take his time, give him 3-4 weeks off, and so his legs are fresh. He'll come back. I would not be surprised to see at some point Draymond sit out 4 or 5 games in a row at some point. But the Warriors are in great shape, I think. The West is kind of just all bunched together. And, look at Phoenix. They were like way ahead of everybody starting off. Now they're 20-19. Same with the Warriors. And the thing about the Suns, they lost Devin Booker. They don't have the depth that the Warriors have. The Warriors can just keep going. So do you think that the Warriors are your favorite to win the West, or do you just have them in a tier of favorites? I have them the favorite I think they'll win the West because I don't think you can beat the Warriors in a 7-game series. Now, if you had
Chris Mullen.
I think if you had, like baseball or something, if they did the first round in a 3-game series, that's where you see maybe the Warriors have a chance of getting beat out or something. But 7 games, pretty tough.
Baller, I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. My macro, there were call me spoiled, but there were stretches throughout this season where the Warriors were not playing the Warriors brand of basketball. Like, it was just frustrating to watch. But these last couple weeks, I feel like the Warriors have gotten back to their Warriors ways. They're playing better defense. The ball's hopping around and they're getting good looks. So I think the Warriors are playing a better brand of basketball, and that's what I look forward to seeing going forward.
When it comes to a title chase, do you have more confidence in the Niners or the Warriors this year?
If you
I'm going with the Warriors.
Great question.
I'm rolling with the Warriors.
I would like to see the line. Pedigree. I'd like to see the line on that. It's a no bet if neither team wins a championship. But I wonder what the line would be if one of the two win champ. Maybe they both do. But if one of the two was to win, I think that the Niners at this point would have to be favorites. Even though the Warriors still haven't lost a Western Conference series since 2014, I just think with Steph's health still a little bit up in the air, I think kind of maybe got to see him come back, got to see that he is that same guy got to see that there's no lingering things, and it's just a long season. There can be injuries. But I'm just, similar to last year, as long as Steph is healthy, best player in the league, then, I think that they're going to probably clutch it. And the Niners, the Niners, it's just like kind of just all breaking right for them. Like, it's just one of those years. It seems like everything's breaking right for them.
I'm going to be bold and say the Giants.
What? Stop.
Farhan.
Wait a second. Wait a second. Somebody in here said something like that. Somebody said, "I've got the macro on the Giants."
No way. Did somebody say that?
Yeah, I'll find it. Seriously though, Danny.
Seriously. Oh man. Can I pick? Do I have to pick one? Because I think we're going to celebrate both. But
really,
but who would be most likely?
Here's Nick J. Macro Giants. WTF are they doing?
That's funny. Most likely, I'm gonna go with the Niners because I see something in them right now that is a
what do you got against Steph Curry?
Barring any injury, I think they're both going to do it personally. But I do think I'm going to go with the Niners because they're first.
Okay, how about this?
Niners are first, so I'm going to.
Who's got the tougher road to a championship? Niners or Warriors? It's a little bit different. Warriors,
definitely. Just because there's so much time left in the season.
You got Buffalo and Kansas City in the AFC. I think both those teams are considered to be the best in football.
I know, but they don't have to. They only got to play one of them.
Third string quarterback. Maybe playing the title game on the road.
Something about when I see these interviews from this channel called I think it's called the Krueg channel. Krueg show.
Krueg show. Yes.
I see Chanel. I see these interviews on YouTube from the 49ers locker room. No, seriousness. When you see a locker room that tight and you get a feel for that, and you see the togetherness and the fact that they're all on, same page, gelling, and they're veterans, and they have that taste in them. A lot of these guys from 19 and then getting beat by the Chiefs again. I personally think this team wants the Chiefs. That's just, if I was a player, that's what I would want. But I just think that the Niners are.
What's wrong with you, Dan? You want the Packers in the first round, and you want the Chiefs.
I don't want the Packers in the first round. I wanted the Packers to beat Minnesota because it gives the Niners a chance of the 2 seed. Now they got a shot at the 1 seed. But
as Nick J points out, though, in basketball, it's a series. In football, one game and it's over. You got your third string quarterback. One bad game and it's bye-bye.
I mean, the odds are telling us. So the Warriors, in my book, obviously, all these futures are kind of bullshit.
Yeah, what are the Warriors to win the title? What are the Niners to win the title right now?
Well, first of all, it's just making me really angry. I hate that they do this with the futures now because you can't bet the no side of it. You can't bet the Rockets won't win the championship or the Nuggets won't. They just make a bunch of them plus 200, plus 300, and it's like that. The odds don't add up at all. Yeah. But anyway, the Warriors are plus 400 to win the West. And
anybody better than that?
Oh, they are tied with the Clippers. Memphis is plus 500. Denver's plus 550. Pelicans 9-1. But 10 years ago, they would have had the Pelicans that are a realistic 28-1. And then for the championship, the Warriors are 8-1. So, and then the Niners, I believe, are 2-1 to win the NFC. Yep, them and the Eagles are 2-1. And
here's
then
why I like the Niners is because in the playoffs it's about controlling the ball.
Super Bowl plus 550. So
and the Niners have the best, I think, one of the best running games with the ground attack. Now you've got Mitchell coming back healthy. CMC, you can put in, you got Jordan Mason at times. If it's just they can run the ball and they can run the passing game with McCaffrey like a running game as well. So time of possession is going to be a big thing in the playoffs. I think the Niners, I mean, what did we see in 19? Jimmy threw the ball, one game like 8 times or something like that. They ran for – who ran for 200-plus yards? Was it Tevin Coleman?
It was Mostert.
Oh, 229.
Okay. And it's lining up like that again this year, Dan. Like it's not I think that they're not going to really sweat that much until the NFC Championship, and that's just the fact that they only have to play one game. I mean, I'd say that maybe if I had to give realistically, I think that there's about a 50% chance that the Niners come out of the West. I mean, out of the NFC. And then once they get to the Super Bowl, they have about a 50% chance to win the Super Bowl. So
yeah, I mean,
they're probably about a 25% chance right now.
Do the Packers concern you if they play the Packers?
No.
Well, let's throw that out. Who do you guys want in the first round? Packers, Seahawks, Lions. I think those are the 3 options. Obviously, the bye. What you really want is you want the Niners to beat the Cardinals and the Giants to beat the Eagles in Week 18. The Niners would then get the bye, and they would get the lowest seed who was left after the first weekend's games, which I still think could be Green Bay, because I think Green Bay could potentially upset Dallas. But what do you think? Who do you want first round if you could choose? Packers, Seahawks, or Lions?
Give me Goff.
It's the Packers or it's the Packers or the Lions. I don't want to play the Seahawks a third time. I know we've dominated them. We've dominated them twice. But I don't know, playing your division 3 times, the Niners can beat all.
We
all have PTSD
the Seahawks
from
are the one
last
that
year.
gives me a little bit of pause.
49ers did it to the Rams in one of their Super Bowl years. They beat them 3 times.
Yeah, but they also last year the Rams beat the Rams a zillion times in a row and then lost to the Rams.
That's true. Here's the ideal situation: is finish the 1 seed and play Tampa Bay in the first game, and then somehow have the 2 seed would be what? Who would be the 2 seed in that situation?
Basically, it's Dallas. Okay. So if the Niners are the 1, Dallas is the 2.
So
if Philly's the 1, Niners are the 2.
Yeah, Dallas plays Green Bay. Green Bay upsets Dallas. Minnesota plays the Giants. Giants upset the Vikings, and then you have the Viking or the Giants going against.
This is how it would go.
Mickey Mouse championship.
That would be
how it would go. This is how it would go. If Philly's the 1 seed, the Niners would likely be the 2. They would play Green Bay. If Green Bay wins, Green Bay would be the 7.
That's the most likeliest.
That's the most likely,
Yeah.
and that means Minnesota plays the New York Giants and Dallas plays Tampa. I think the New York Giants and Tampa have a very good chance of beating Dallas and Minnesota. I really do. But we'll see. I think that Green Bay game could be very difficult for the Niners just because Rodgers is such a great quarterback, and Lenore and Hufanga and some of the coverage issues the Niners have. I don't think that's a laydown. I would rather, and the Lions scare me just because they have got nothing to lose, and Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams, they've got some speed.
I think the same thing for the Packers, though, Lair. Like the Packers always have that. They always have those giant expectations, and then
they're dangerous now.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Seattle, though, because they're limping home. They're banged up. I believe, if you can check it yourself, but I think Jordan Brooks, their number 1 tackler, has a very serious injury and is done for the year. So I don't think he goes. That takes a defense that's already crap and makes it worse. To me, Seattle's the team that I absolutely would love to play. It's just they're even though it's a division game.
On Christmas Day, when I can't remember who Green Bay was playing. I think it was Miami.
Yeah.
Didn't they play Miami? Yeah, and
they beat Miami.
I wrote out that it was good Green Bay won today to keep their playoff hopes alive. This helps the 49ers as the Pack host Minnesota next week. I'm predicting the Packers win out and make the playoffs as the 7 seed and will play the number 2 seed 49ers. So I think
I'll tell you what's going to be really interesting, guys, in my mind, is I think there's sleeper teams in the AFC playoffs. I really
Chargers.
do. Well, Chargers for
Chargers
sure.
and
I think
Jags.
Jaguars.
I don't think
Jaguars. You got Trevor Lawrence playing really well. Jaguars have a ton of pass rushers and a lot of talent. They've got some pretty good receivers. I think Jaguars are kind of scary, and then the Ravens are scary because Lamar's going to come back, and they had Roquan to their defense. They've been there before, so I think the Ravens are kind of scary. I think the Jaguars are kind of scary, and then the Chargers get Joey Bosa back. And the Chargers are playing great. They've won.
I think the Chargers are the sleeper. To me, the sleepers.
That's three teams. I think.
I don't consider the Jags at all. Though they might make the playoffs, and but they would play. I mean, they're going to probably win the division as the 4 seed, and then they would play the Chargers, I think, and I think the Chargers will beat them.
You got to remember this, though. The Jaguars in the second half of the year have wins against the Ravens, the Titans,
and the
Cowboys. You know, I mean, they got some good wins in the second half of the year.
But whoever wins that game, 4-5's got to go to probably KC. And I don't see. I see their season ending.
Yeah, you know what? That kind of sucks that's the 4-5 because those are the two fun sleeper teams that are getting hot. And like it's sort of like in March Madness when like you have two teams that you really like to make a run and then they're like playing each other.
Yeah, they're 8-9 or something. Or
if I gave you a C note and put you in a casino and said you can bet 50 on one team and 50 on another team to win the Super Bowl, you can pick two teams. Who are you going to bet on?
The odds are just such horseshit. Like you're better off doing a mechanical future, just like betting the money line every game, and you'd be way better. Because how can the Eagles and Niners both be 2-1, and then all these other teams like it's not like last year where like they allowed you to get like Niners Bengals 100-1.
Who are your two teams though? You can get $50 on two teams to win the Super Bowl.
Niners Bengals.
Niners Bengals.
That's
what. Are you copying Clarsard 49?
No, didn't even see it.
Are you sure?
No, I've been going that way the whole.
Looked kind of down, and then all of a sudden you said Niners Bengals.
Oh gosh, Clarsard. I didn't see it. Why would I steal? Why would I steal a
Niners for sure? Niners lock them in, and I'm rolling with the Bills. I'm hoping, Bills are a talented team. They could potentially rally behind this devastating injury. It's terrible, but I'm hoping the Bills can somehow rally behind it. They got a lot of talent. They got a top 2 quarterback in the NFL, top
I went
5
Niners
wide
Bills
receiver.
beginning of the year, so I'm staying Niners Bills.
Niners Bills.
I mean, karmically, if the Bills and Bengals just take this as a no contest, karmically, I feel like everyone has to root against the Chiefs because that's bullshit. And one of those two teams, I'd be so sick if Burrow went into Kansas City and just shoved it down Mahomes' throat again.
I'm tired of the Chiefs, and when the Chiefs said, "Hey, we're going to win 7 titles," that was obnoxious.
They've won one, and that they probably shouldn't have won.
Clarsard, be original, Dan. He says,
what's up? What's up with that? Why is Clarsard talking down to Danny?
Yeah.
I don't like that Niners Bengals is now like a thing that people are saying.
He's got
You don't like being part of the cool crew?
No.
The chic pick.
Hey, I had my 100-1 Niners Bengals ticket last year.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one that I could pick if you said to me, give me what I went with Niners Bills at the beginning of the year. I really believe Niners have the best talent in the conference. I really believe Buffalo does. I usually pick the Super Bowl in the preseason based on personnel because that's what I value. But right now, what I could see is a rematch of Super Bowl 29, which was Niners Bengals. The last time the Niners won the Super Bowl.
Real original there.
Niners Bengals, not Niners Bengals. Niners Chargers.
Chargers. Oh.
The last time the Niners won the Super Bowl, Steve Young beat the Chargers. I could see it being, we had the Harbaugh Bowl. Chewy Cassis and I think alike. Niners, Chargers, Bosa against Bosa. I could see Niners, Chargers, guys. I really could. The Chargers, go look at the Chargers. Nobody is watching the Chargers.
Oh, that's why I said Chargers are tough right now. Actually, that's a team, if they end up playing the Jags and they win, they could, if Kansas City is the 1 seed, they could go into Kansas City and beat them because
they're you know what, they're the one team that Kansas City doesn't want to face.
Exactly, because that's a division game and they play them tough, and
that would be great. I just worry that maybe there is something to that matchup, because remember when the Jaguars, before even they were that good, just totally housed the. I mean, I guess they didn't have their Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, but they got housed.
I mean, here's the thing about the Chargers. The Chargers have. They can't stop the run, but you have Herbert and Eckler and Mike Williams and Keenan Allen and Josh Palmer. And if you get a lead and then teams don't run, you know what I mean? And now, is Derwin James done for the year?
Ooh, I'm not sure.
I know he's hurt. But, I mean, that's a really, really good-looking secondary with Asante Samuel, Derwin James, Nazir Adderley, Michael Davis, Bryce Callahan. There's some good players in that secondary. And then you look at them, their linebackers. I mean, you got Joey Bosa, Kenneth Murray, Khalil Mack. They've got some nice linebackers. And then, you know, I mean, their front three are just big-bodied guys, Morgan Fox, Sebastian Joseph Day, Braden Fajoko. But they're the kind of team that if they get a lead on you, you know, you got to pass, and they got a really good secondary and some damn good edge rushers. You know, so it's all about the lead. Like, the Chargers are not going to come from behind. They're not a come-from-behind team. Or they shouldn't be. I don't think they, you know, I think they're the kind of team that if they can get up on the scoreboard on you and make you take away your ability to run, then they can rush the passer and pick off passes, and their rush and cover game's elite. So watch for them if they get a lead.
I mean, they're so theoretical. It's like the beginning of the season again. Like, they're loaded. They've got a guy at quarterback, but like, what was their best win this whole year? Like, I have no idea.
Their best win all year? That's a good point.
I'm looking at their schedule right now. I have no idea.
They beat Miami. They beat Tennessee.
Miami was kind of a wounded dog at that point.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a great win. They really don't have a great win. But they
don't run the ball well.
What they do have is 5 wins out of the last 6. So they
kind of
come in playing
teams.
well.
You know, it's a bad thing kind of for the situation with the playoffs right now is if Cincinnati's currently the 3 seed, and if they get locked there, they play Baltimore this week at home. They would play again the following week, back-to-back weeks. That's kind of really rough, I think, on whoever loses whoever wins the first game. It's going to be tough to win back-to-back weeks, I think. It's happened, but the way it's setting up is it was going to be for the division title, possibly. But the AFC, I mean, the NFC isn't affected by this whole thing, but the AFC with this, it really affects all the seeds, the first, definitely the first 3, but I think it affects all the way down to 4 or 5 because Baltimore had a chance to possibly win the division.
Here's the question. Is this going to be the chalk year where it's Buffalo and Kansas City in the AFC and Niners and Eagles in the NFC? Or do you think that we see lots of upsets? What's your guys' feeling on this? Because, you know, the NFL is so relatively even. It just seems like we're going to see upsets. But then if you said to me, how would you like tier the NFL? I'd put Kansas City and Buffalo in that top tier. I'd put the Niners and the Eagles probably in that next tier. And then to me, there's like kind of a drop off pretty good drop off between the top four teams and the 5th, 6th, and 7th teams. But that's just how I see it. How do you guys see the NFL playoffs if you looked at it in tiers?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the chalk. I'm rolling with the chalk.
Yeah,
you
chalk.
One of 5 teams are winning the Super Bowl, and that's the Chiefs and the Bills. We'll put them tier 1, and then tier 2, it's Niners, Eagles, Bengals. And I think those are the 5 teams. One of those 5 teams is winning the Super Bowl.
Okay. You're not throwing Dallas. A lot of people will throw Dallas in that second tier. I know.
If how many tiers you want to go? Just 2?
Well, no, I'm just saying as far as
because I have the Niners.
You can make whatever number of tiers you want. I personally I think Baller said it right. I think you've got Kansas City and Buffalo in their own group, and then you got a group of 3 teams. And I agree with those 3 teams. It's Philly and the Niners and the Bengals.
I like those same 5 teams that Baller has, but I don't necessarily put them on different tiers. I think they're all lumped together. I think any one of those 5.
You don't think Kansas City and Buffalo are better than the other teams?
No.
They're just complete. It's like they're playing a different game. It's like they're all, star quarterbacks is the whole AFC, NFC, not so much. I will say, I think that there could be some tomfoolery in the NFC because all you need to win the Super Bowl. I don't use that
word enough. I can use tomfoolery a little bit more.
Maybe Tom Brady is going to be the tomfoolery, but all it takes is you just have to once you make the Super Bowl, anything can happen. So, and I think that there's a path for maybe some random ass team in the NFC to make it. Let's say Hurts is not himself, and then you can kind of cross the Eagles off. Let's say Dak, just is Dak, and he just, they lose to somebody. Maybe they get upset in the first round, and maybe Purdy botches it or something. I don't know.
So who is this wild card team you think that's going to?
I do not know. I really hope it's not like someone
like the Packers.
Nah, I don't think the Packers would be able to do it, but maybe Packers.
Packers have to do it on the road, which is so unpackable.
It would be really weird for the Packers to finish 9-8 after going 13-3 the last 3 years or whatever they did, and then turn around and all of a sudden get it done at 9-8.
I think Mark Graves is onto something here. Most of the Chargers' losses are against teams that made the playoffs, and their wins are against non-playoff teams. Yeah, I think that they're I can't tell if they're the good bad team or if they're the bad good team.
They beat who they should beat. They lost to who the teams they should lose to.
I'll tell you a team that you got to be looking out for because it's the playoffs. They have a great defense. And if Lamar Jackson is healthy, he could
Baltimore.
Yeah, he could run his way into a couple of big drives and score, and their defense holds them down. That's a team that.
But they're also kind of home cooking, aren't they? We see the Ravens home and road. Ravens are the same. 5-3 at home, 5-3 on the road.
Just no one knows what the hell is happening with the Ravens right now, and the Lamar. There's just no updates on the Lamar situation. And then there's the contract. Does he even come back to play? But he's negotiating for himself. And then what do you have? It's just
I don't know. Yeah, weird. It's weird. You don't know what condition he's in. If he's 100% healthy, he could be really fresh, and that would be tough.
We welcome in JD from 95.7 The Game to our stream for the very first time. John Dickinson in the house. John, this is Bay Area Baller to your left. That's Dan Coccimilgio up there
John?
wearing the Warrior hat.
Hey.
And that's Ryan Smith. And then
up there wearing the Warrior hat.
Good-looking guy up here is yours truly. What's up, JD? How's it going? How was the post game? What'd you guys talk about? What was the big talk?
Yeah, a lot to get into in this one. I think we talked about this the other day. The fact that do you play a winning game or a losing game? And I think the Warriors tonight, for the most part, played a losing game. I think they were a little fatigued coming off the double overtime a couple nights ago. I think it was a situation where, Detroit, I know, came in with the worst record in the NBA, but they're kind of a tough matchup for the Warriors. A lot of size, a lot of athleticism, a lot of length. And I think, that bothered the Warriors in this game tonight. And they got off to a bad start, and it just felt like they were climbing all night. They'd get down 8, they'd come back. Then they get down 8 again. And, I think just at the end of the day, they didn't play well enough to win. They could have stolen it, but I think it would have felt like they stole it with Klay Thompson scoring 17 in the fourth and making some big threes and getting a couple key stops. I mean, that's how they won the first 5 games of the homestand. But and then a lot of other things. The Jordan Poole turnover late, took a bad shot late. You've got Draymond getting ejected late. I mean, there was a lot going on tonight in what wound up breaking the Warriors' home winning streak.
Mark Graves says, JD, where's the beanie? Where's the beanie? You got the beanie nearby?
I got it right here. You want me to throw it on?
Can we go? Mark Graves is asking for the beanie. We were joking the other day that when JD and Steiny both went with the beanie, what the guys thought you guys were going to rob somebody?
Yeah, we're about to go. The guy said one of the guys on the station feed said we look like we're about to go find the nice houses at Christmas and burgle some presents from under the tree.
Oh, JD, I won't burden everyone with the story again, but I wore a beanie for like the first time in a couple years. I became a beanie guy for a second just because I didn't want to get a haircut, and I fully almost got stabbed by someone who thought I was breaking into their car. I told the whole story on the Krueg show. It was wild. It was wild. Whoa. Absolutely wild.
Wow. Yeah,
pretty serious.
Careful. Sometimes I'll roll with the black jacket or a dark hoodie or something like that. And yeah, you're right. It's a good point. And you can make yourself a little bit vulnerable. Yeah. I don't have the fancy mic and everything hooked up tonight because I was doing the radio portion, but I do have the beanie. I can reach into the bag for the beanie tonight.
Are you still at Chase?
I am. Yeah, I'm in one of the meeting rooms here, back meeting room that we've turned into a studio during these home games that I do pre and post game from. And so, yeah, just got done about 3-4 minutes ago and hop on with you guys for a little bit to talk about this game.
Well, I appreciate you doing it, man. I really do. Hey, what did you think of the double T at the end that got Green tossed, him and Isaiah Stewart? Is that the only call that can be made there? That seemed really punitive, and it seemed like Stewart kind of – oh, wait, let me turn that off. Seems like Stewart kind of escalated the entire episode, and obviously Green paid the price because he already had the previous T. What'd you think of that play? Yeah,
Stewart did – I think initiate it, and I think it was. I think if we're in a playoff game, I think it winds up being, oh, Draymond's already got a technical, and the officials realize that, and they probably either just call a tech on Stewart for instigating it, like they can kind of pick and choose there, or I think it could also wind up being they just make it a no call straight up, like just separate, no call. You're not going to call the double tech, so you're not going to give anybody a tech. Because if you give the double tech, that means Draymond is out of the game, obviously, because he picked up another one in the second quarter. I thought it was a little weak to see somebody get ejected on that kind of call. I mean, just flat out. But the Warriors, if Draymond put himself in that position earlier by getting the one for arguing with the official. But it also is a situation where it's reputation for both players in this instance, because Stewart has the reputation of being a guy that, he's mixed it up in the past with others and been in a fight before that's been, rather memorable. And I think Draymond, obviously everybody knows his reputation. So I think in that moment, the officials are trying to, in the final minute and a half of the game, prevent something more major from jumping off against two guys that frankly have the history and the reputation of being kind of hotheads.
Bay hit the big shot at the end. What did you think of the way the Warriors defended it?
A little late on the switch. I think they were switching everything. I think Ty Jerome in his post-game press conference said they were looking to switch everything. But I mean, to me, it was pretty well defended. I mean, when you look at the angle by which Saddiq Bey's got to catch it and throw it up, I mean, you're nitpicking, I think, if you're saying that it was, a mistake or anything. I mean, at that point, though, you want to obviously, try and have as contested a look as possible. But it was, I mean, I thought the Warriors defended it pretty well. It looked like they had a 5-second call, for crying out loud. I mean, that's tough.
Yeah,
in its own right. I mean, I think you want to bring the stopwatch out and run through it. They may have had a 5-second
I did.
call.
I did.
You underestimate.
Yeah, I brought the stopwatch when I replayed it. I started it as soon as he handed it to him, and as soon as it left his hands to ring through, I stopped it. It was 5.25.
You better send
Okay.
that to the league office.
Yeah, right.
But
They'll probably
if
put
it's
it on their 2-minute.
5.25, if it's 5.25, you got to be, it's probably got to be like 5.7, right? To really, like, it's kind of like the play clock running down in the NFL, right? It's got to get to 0,
Right.
and then there's that extra half a beat before they actually throw the flag.
Jalen Duren looked good too, man. The big kid from Memphis, 18 and 11, great length, great athleticism. The Warriors really, this was the one game I thought this year where they really look like they lack size, right? They had no James Wiseman. They had no Kuminga. You don't have Wiggins. You're still missing Curry, of course, but it seemed like they lack size and some energy in the front court tonight. That was my thought watching the first half. What do you think, JD?
Yeah, tough matchup. I mean, Stewart is a load. Duren is a load, and he gets up, and I mean, he was 8 for 8 tonight. I mean, and it was all right at the rim, 11 boards. I mean, he's a handful, and he's the type of player that typically gives the Warriors problems. But yeah, just woefully shorthanded up front. And then having Draymond obviously out for the final minute. I mean, it was mostly decided at that point as far as the impact those guys had on the game. But I think it's one of these deals where it's, as I kind of mentioned at the beginning, this is a tough, the Pistons are the worst team in the NBA coming in, but they are the kind of team that, I mean, they beat the Warriors in Detroit back in October when we were all watching the Niners and the Rams. It was an afternoon game that was going on when the Niners were winning at SoFi, and Christian McCaffrey was throwing a touchdown and running for a touchdown and catching a touchdown. And the Pistons did a lot of what we saw them do to the Warriors tonight, due to them on that Sunday afternoon with Steph playing and with Wiggins playing in those games at the end of that road trip that was really bad for the Warriors. So I think when you look back on it, it's a tough matchup. It's a bad team. It's a young team, but it's a bad matchup for the Warriors.
JD, what's the status on Wiseman and Kuminga? How long are they day to day, or what's the deal?
Yeah, they dropped this nugget right before the game in Steve Kerr's pregame press conference, and they sent out an update on everybody. Wiseman, Kuminga, and JaMychal Green now all are going to be reevaluated in a week. So so Wiseman sprained the ankle going back to, this would be now 5 days ago. It was at shoot around playing some 3-on-3 before the Portland game on the 30th. So he sprained it then. It was kind of a day-to-day thing then, but apparently it's not a day-to-day thing now, because another week means he's going to be out at least probably 2 weeks at that point. And the Warriors, I think they're reevaluating everybody right before they go on the road trip. So a week from today is basically the off day in between the final game of the homestand and the day where they will fly to San Antonio a week from tomorrow and begin that 5-game road trip. So every one of them going to be reevaluated then. Kuminga was in a boot, as everybody saw a couple of nights ago. That's not a great sign. But so I almost took the reevaluation in a week for Kuminga as a good sign. I thought it was a bad sign for Wiseman. I thought it was an optimistic sign. And
is that a high ankle or something with Wiseman? Or?
Well, they haven't said, but I mean, a high ankle, I think it'd be more than a week.
Yeah.
But I mean,
6 weeks.
Most guys that roll their ankle, I've rolled my ankle playing ball, and it's usually a couple days. You're back.
Can we see the ankle?
That's about more than 40 years ago.
Has the swelling gone down in the 40 years?
Just slightly, yeah. Yeah, but no, that's weird. I mean, it's either something a little higher up on the ankle, or he's very brittle, because to miss 2 weeks with
he's just still a young, massive body, massive center. I mean, you would have been saying the same thing about Embiid, saying that he was brittle, and now look at the man is a freak show. So, I mean, I think with Wiseman, I mean, Kerr doesn't really want to play him that much anyway. So I think this is a nice little excuse to just, take your time, Wiseman. There's no use in rushing him back so he can play 6 minutes off the bench and get dunked on Twitter.
JD, the road trip coming up, you mentioned they got 2 more. They got Orlando and Phoenix, and then it's 5 on the road. And the back of that road trip looks pretty daunting, You're going to play Cleveland, in Boston, in Washington, second half of a back-to-back. What do you think? San Antonio, the Bulls, then Wizards, Celtics, Cavs. 2 wins, 2 and 3. What do you think?
When you look at 3 wins total on the road to this point, you'd almost take 2 wins out of the 5, I think, and feel pretty good about it. The best news of the day on the injury front is what I left out in talking about some of the bigs, and that's the fact that it sounds like there's a legitimate possibility that Steph Curry's coming back for the first game of that trip in San Antonio.
Right.
And so that to me, that's coming at the right time. Like, a big part of this thing for the Warriors, as far as I was concerned, was you got to get hopefully 6 of the 8 at home, which means you're leaving above 500 at a minimum. You're 1 game over at that point, and then you're getting healthy. I think we all thought Wiggins was already going to be back. He got sick after the adductor, and all right, we'll see where that ends up. But getting Curry back, getting Wiggins back, having everybody back, I think 2 minimum. San Antonio is the obvious one. I know that's a weird game. That game's going to be in the Alamo Dome on January the 13th.
Yeah.
And they're going to try to set the record for attendance in an NBA
Hopefully
game.
the water main doesn't break like it did once upon a time with the Warriors there.
On an opening night, right, Larry? An opening night there, I think that was.
I mean, it wasn't just a little bit of water. It was like the most water you've ever seen. It was just a ridiculous thing. Klay Thompson, last couple games. What do you make of Klay? We have in the chat here. B4 says, great to see Klay can get hot in stretches. 2 games in a row now for Klay. I saw Shasky was taking back, I guess, what he had said about Klay, that Klay had regressed. What do you think? What do you think of Klay's 2-game hot streak here?
I think it's more than a 2. I think it's more than a 2 game. I don't know that he's back necessarily. I think he can still do it. I just think he's not. I mean, it's going to be fewer and farther, in between when he has the games like he had the other night with 54, and he's helping you win at that level. But I think he's really helped this team when they've needed it most to be able to rise up with Steph and Wiggins out and take more shots and just, unabashed be like, hey, I'm going to try to carry this team. And I think he's had hot and cold spells within games, but you never feel like he's been, completely out of a game. I think tonight's a perfect example. I mean, I think, he's not having a great night going into the fourth quarter, 13 points, but in the fourth quarter, he goes for 17 and he's 6 of 8 and he's 3 of 5 from 3. And you look back at the game the other night, and I think really every game he's played in on the homestand, he didn't play the one back-to-back against Utah, but I think he's been a factor in all of these games. And I think it's really good to see. I still think it's going to be more up and down than we're used to. You could make a case, how many games has he played total? Has he played a good game in half of those games? I think he's working his way toward that. That's sort of been my barometer, guys, has been, when do you just look at an individual Klay game and say, good game, bad game, contributed to winning in a positive light? Like, whenever that is higher than 50%, I think that's when we can start to truly evaluate, is he back, or could he be back at the level that he was before? I think he's starting with this run to get back to where it is pretty even as far as the good game. He had some bad games early in the year and was really hurting the Warriors as he was trying to find his way through it. I think he stopped playing as selfishly, stopped trying to shoot his way out of, almost to make 2 for every miss was kind of the way I put it. It felt like every shot he missed, he's like, I got to make 2 now to make up for it and get my percentage back up. And he was chasing the 50-point game rather than just letting it happen early in the year. So I think, getting some of that knocked away. I think Draymond gets some credit for this team meeting going back to the middle of November. But I think this is the best sign these last 5 games for Klay. Now, can he play this way and help winning when he's taking fewer shots? Because I do think part of it right now is Klay knows he can get 25 shots every game because Steph's out, because Wiggins is out, because they need him to just go out there and let it rip. And so I think there's a confidence level that it gives him to where if he gets off to a bad start, he can just keep shooting. But no, I think you got to feel pretty good about where Klay Thompson is at here, given the way that he's played on this homestand.
Hey, John,
go ahead, Ray.
My big question is just about Poole in general. I agree with so much of the Clay stuff. I honestly believe that if you gave him truth serum and you said, did you actually believe like 100% that you could still have these nights where you're dropping 50? I think that I don't think that he would say like 100% yes. I think that he was, like you were saying, like he was hunting that he was trying to get hot and have one of those eruptions so he could like see for himself that he can still do it. So I almost feel like now that he has, and now that he's like shown out nationally and there's no more of that weird, like, you know, him feeling kind of insecure with Devin Booker and Charles and all this stuff. I think now Curry's going to come back and be reintegrated, or he's going to, you know, Clay's going to be not doing all that same BS. Because here's the other thing is the big question I want to ask is just about Jordan Poole. Because I thought there was definitely, that was the storyline, was like, oh, I don't know. Do you move Clay to the bench? Like Jordan Poole's so much better as a starter, and look at Clay struggling and Jordan Poole's the future. But Jordan Poole's just kind of been pretty inconsistent and like not great all year. So what are your thoughts as far as like, what do you expect from him going forward? Do you expect anything to change in terms of the lineup? Yeah. Or like, do you think he's in his head right now?
Yeah, no, I think look, they've really needed his point production on this homestand. And I know it hasn't been perfect, and at times it hasn't been efficient. Tonight, it really wasn't efficient. The turnovers the other night could have proven to be even more costly had the Warriors ended up losing that game to Atlanta. He had a bad shot late tonight. He had a turnover tonight, obviously, that's making the headlines. That it's just, he gets his footwork, I think, a little twisted. I think he gets his handle a little bit off sometimes. He rushes sometimes.
John, sorry to interrupt you. I've been saying that since last year to the playoffs, that he sometimes, it's almost because like it didn't all come naturally. Steph Curry is to a point where he now is an improviser. Jordan Poole is like, he learned all the moves, but sometimes he's like in his brain, he's like 2K smashing the controller, like all the buttons at once. But right. He finds that zone sometimes where he is playing, you know, he's in full control. And that's when it's freaky. And you're like, wow, this guy, that's why we paid him the big bucks. But it's too much it's too much of the old Poole.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, I really do think that's fair. He is trying to, I think, make sure he gets the right move in the right moment, and there could be a little bit of an overthink there. I know there've been a lot of questions tonight on, you know, the texters and a couple of callers. Just, you know, does Poole truly fit the Warriors system and that kind of thing? Like, he's just a different play. You need a variety of style players. Like, I don't think he's intentionally selfish by any stretch. I think he's still, though, as a young player, trying to learn the right time to shoot versus create. I think he's much more comfortable getting his own, but he also has had success being able to set up others. And it's just, but he's also trying to get the move right when you're going one-on-one late and it's all on you. And I just think there's a lot going on in his head. I don't think it's anything that can't get better with more seasoning and more opportunity. I mean, the way I would put Jordan Poole in the context of the rest of this team is he's one of 4 or 5 players that Steve Kerr can choose on any given night to be the 5th finishing player. Like, I think that's how we have to look at it. You know, when the Warriors are whole, you know, Steph and Clay are out there, you know, Draymond and Wiggins are out there. And then the question is, who's the 5th guy going to be on a night in, night out basis? Is it going to be Poole? Is it going to be Looney? Is it going to be Kuminga? Like, there's a lot of different options on different nights as far as maybe
even DiVincenzo. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. DiVincenzo. I mean, hell, it could even be Iguodala at some point.
Right.
Is that the golfer? I mean, the guy who golfs? No. Hey, I got to, you know, what I see with Poole is a guy who's really athletic and has really worked hard at his game, but so he's really improved. And his skills have improved. Every one of his skills has improved, except his feel is still very young. And that's going to be the last thing to come. That's what I see with him. It's like his feel for when to shoot, when not to shoot, how to blend with his teammates. That's still a work in progress, but his skills are way improved from when he came into the league. His shooting percentages, his handle, his moves, his quickness, because he works. He's the first guy in, the last guy. He's that grinder. So he's worked on his game, but the feel part is not something you can just work on in practice. That's game minutes. And I just think it's going to take some time. I love Saddiq Bey. That's the kind of player I would want to add to Golden State if I could at the deadline, JD. What do you think, Myers? He was just on 95.7 The Game, today or yesterday?
Yeah,
talking a little bit about the Warriors, obviously, and his perspective on the whole thing. Do you think that they make a move between now and the deadline, which is about a month and a week away, or do you think they're quiet? What kind of move do you think they make? The only guy I could see them moving is Moses Moody, that other teams would want, and that they could get somebody coming back. But what do you see at the trade deadline? What are you hearing?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think the better they play with the group that they have, once they get healthier here, I think it's in a way they're less likely to think they have to go out and make a move at that point, or they're less likely to want to give up one of the young players for somebody that might be a rental. But the better you play between now and then, it also enhances your belief that you can win a championship if maybe you add one more bench player. I think it's one more wing type player. It's one more 3-4 type player that can defend, that can, fit in the context of their offense and move the ball, that can shoot some threes. I think it's that kind of player. Or if it is a big, I think it's a big in more in like the Otto Porter mold, like a big that can stretch the floor.
A shooter big.
As opposed to a big that can bang. I think that's a component where you start to look at the other four guys that we were just talking about and what type of player could fit as the fifth in maybe some closing lineups for the Warriors. So, but it is tricky because I don't think they really want to truly give up any of the guys I don't think they want to give up Moody or Wiseman or Kuminga in a perfect world. They also find themselves in this position now where with the two-way guys, they have one roster spot. So to make a two-way guy eligible for the playoffs, you got to convert one of those players into one of those roster spots. So in essence, you can't, if you want to pick Lamb, then you'd have to do something else if you want to also have Ty Jerome be a part of it. Now, I think when Curry comes back, Ty Jerome's probably not going to play. If the Warriors have Clay and Steph and DiVincenzo and Poole, I mean, at that point, Ty Jerome's not playing. So I think you could get away with him not being a part of that equation. But Anthony Lamb's a guy, and he kind of saved him tonight.
Yeah, he did.
Somebody they may want in that 15th roster spot, and then that limits what you can do via trade unless you're taking maybe two players out to get one, or one player out to bring back another one. And I just don't see them wanting to trade a young player for a rental type. If it's another young player that's got some years on his deal that you're willing to re-sign, that's a different equation.
My man Corey, Danny, before you jump in here, my man Corey here in the bottom says, does JD have any insight in Bob Myers' contract issue? Just the fact we talked about this on the radio the other day, but maybe Corey didn't hear it. JD, give us your thoughts. I mean, Myers is without a contract. You're in the dark now.
They tell me these are motion activated. They tell me these are motion activated. Let me run over. I'm going to run over to the
This is turning into a Curb Your Enthusiasm where you're going to be in your own house and you're going to think you're a robber.
Danny, go ahead and make that point you're going to make.
Well, I was going to ask JD make the comment about Jerome. When Curry comes back, I would imagine Jerome doesn't even suit up to count against those 50 days so that they have more leeway toward
kind of the opposite of send it in, Jerome, like sit it down, Jerome.
Well, yeah, I think they'll probably not have him suit up just so that they can save those 50 games. Isn't it?
Yeah.
JD, you're operating now with a different level of light. It's not quite as light as it was before, but it's not as dark as it was just recently.
No. I may need to make another adjustment here.
That's all right. We'll let you go in a minute. I want you to answer Corey's question because I know Bob Myers. A lot of Warrior fans are concerned that Myers doesn't have a contract. He's a lame duck general manager. He's an architect of a dynasty. It's a bizarre situation to some degree.
It really is, and I think the mind goes in a bunch of different directions when that gets reported, and to me, it makes me wonder if something's going on with Bob to where maybe Bob has seen it all, been through it all, helped build this thing from where it was 10, 11 years ago to where it is now, and the sort of my theory has been. Let's say Bob Myers was just 3-4 years ago drained by the process of, whether it's working in this organization where, maybe Joe Lacob can be demanding. There's a lot of different opinions and inputs and not to the point where it's like he's chasing him out or anything like that. But you reach the top of the mountain where maybe you don't savor the wins as much and you're more frustrated with the losses, and you get to a point where everything is just so draining, whether it's the Klay Thompson injuries or Kevin Durant's injury, and then he leaves and you're trying to build it back up. And I just wonder if maybe over the last couple of years, because Bob is such a thoughtful individual, if maybe he's just spent on the whole thing, and rather than walk away 3 years ago when maybe those things had first popped into his mind, he says, you know what, I'm going to stick it out and try and rebuild this thing back to the top. But once you get back to the top again, it becomes a scenario where it's like, you know what, now I'm leaving everything in a good place. We want another one, and it might just be time. I feel like this is more about Bob potentially being at a point where he feels it's time to move on. Again, not denigrating the organization or anything, but just feeling like it's time, than it is Joe Lacob not wanting to pay him or Joe Lacob wanting, his son to take over the reins. Like, I feel like it could just be more Bob Myers feeling like it's time to maybe spend a little bit of time with the kids and the family and, maybe take a year or two off and then come back and see what else is out there in the future.
Interesting. All right, JD, we'll let you get on with your night because I know you got to get all the way back to the East Bay. So drive safely. Torrential rain, as you heard. A little bit of some water out there. Let's just say that. But hey, when are we going to see you? When are we going to hear you again on the radio? I know you're going to be with me and Lo Sunday leading into Niners Cardinals on the 49er pregame. But are you filling in at all this week, or where are we catching you?
I'm catching up with a couple of days off, actually, the next 2 days off after a good long run here during the holidays, which is always fun. I'm next back Saturday morning. Warriors this week. We do it, myself and Whitey Gleason. We're on from 10 until 1. And then I'll have Warriors pregame at 4:30 from Chase. So a couple days off. And then I love these double days, Warriors and Magic. 4:30 pregame, and then on after the game, and then to Levi's on Sunday. So looking forward to all of that this weekend. Busy weekend.
JD's a pro's pro. Everybody, one of the guys I've known, been doing this for, man. What year did we meet? Probably late 90s, 2006. That's right. That's 2000. I think it was 2006 at KHTK.
Just a couple.
I've been listening to JD and the game for years. JD, I got to say, I'm a big fan of yours. That's why I had to take the back seat and just hear what you had to say, speaking on the Warriors. Big fan.
Well, this is Eric Price here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that very much, man. I was kind of wondering, like, does this dude think I'm a joke? Like, he didn't want to interact. Like, he's like, I
was soaking it in.
Bogarting your time. Like, no, all good. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for having me.
Yeah, thanks, JD.
JD, good to see you, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good.
See JD.
The great John Dickinson, kind enough to give us his time. I mean, JD's working hard. He did he did a post, he watched the game, and really went extra duty with us here.
I got a question for you guys regarding.
I appreciate the man very much.
I got a question for all of you guys with the Warriors. I was watching.
What's your question?
watching the Kings the other night against Utah, yeah, and Darren Fox. I mean, he was just having a great game.
Yeah,
and they were talking about him being an all-star. And then I watched Jaden Ivey tonight, and then I watched, you watch Ja Morant. These type of players that can just blow by you, right? Who's the Warriors' stopper? I mean, last year it was GP2. Who are the Warriors when they get into a game that they're playing a guy that's quick and explosive? Who do you want guarding him?
I want Jonathan Kuminga.
They're trying to make Kuminga that guy.
And I love the look of it. Now, he ain't GP2 as far as basketball intellect on the defensive end, right? GP2 is not just long arms and ridiculous strength and agility, but he's also really, really, really basketball IQ. I mean, he's like a veteran who's been through it. GP2 became this defensive stopper out of necessity, where Kuminga is still more of a blue chip star who might be an all-star, right? He's going to top out at a much higher level, but they want him. And Kerr said it. He said, we told Jonathan that the ticket to minutes is through the defensive end and his effort and intensity. And there have been a couple nights in the last 10 days, if you watch the Warriors regularly, where Kuminga is just bringing the defensive intensity, and he's so incredibly suffocating athletically that I think he could be really, really effective. Now, the quicker guys are still going to be able to go around him. He's going to draw some fouls, but he's so crazy athletic that I think he could play that deep defensive stopper role.
That you mentioned that, and JD was talking about Jordan Poole could be that fifth guy, one of many. Jordan's defense is what may keep him out of some of those tough games, because he doesn't bring it on the defensive end. And that's an area. He uses
most of his energy on the offensive end.
That's an area and I know Kerr wants to see him improve and step that up. If he could step that up, he could become a really special player. But he's kind of a liability, in my view, on the defense.
Oh, to me, my
stretches in the playoffs last season where Poole was not getting heavy minutes, and that was due to the
But my issue is not just the defense with him. My issue with him is the turnovers. He turns it over sometimes so much that he needs to play more under control. It's an interesting situation because he does need to play under control, but I thought like one of his best games of the year was the early game against San Antonio, where he just was like a lightning rod going to the rim. And so it's like, on one hand, I don't want him to that incredible, ability to beat guys off the dribble like a young Russell Westbrook or something. And it's like, I don't want to slow that down because I think that's where he's truly dominant. But the turnovers, you can't turn it over 7 times in a game. That hurts your team. And then not every turnover is the same. Some are really bad. Some are not as bad. Hey, let's do this. Let's call a timeout. Let's play some spots. Baller, we'll let you get on with your night. You got a final thought on the night before we say goodbye?
Nice hat, by the way, Baller. I like your hat. I like that one. I like Rye's hat tonight. Looks good.
Well, I didn't want to come with a flat bill. You and Larry been beating me up.
Oh, yeah, that's why it looks good.
That's why Danny likes
it. My Giants cap's got a little bend to it. That way Danny
wants a little bend.
I gotta have a bend.
Yes. I want the John Deere fold.
Rye's got a nice little bend in there too. I'm a hat kind of a we know.
Let's see the back of. Can I see the back of Rye's hat? Can I see the back of Baller's hat? What's the back look like?
What's the back?
Rise is fitted. Baller's is fitted.
It's got some generic brand on it, but it does have a nice little patch.
Ooh, little World Series
patch here.
Is that a knockoff then, huh? World Series. It's not official. ATGLA. LA. No, can't be a Giants hat and have LA in it.
Hey, it's one of those things that popped up on my Facebook. You know how the advertisements, you just know what you want.
Peel that
this
A
hat
off.
just popped up. I mean, I was like, how could I not buy this thing? It just looks too damn cool.
Is that Willie Mays or is that Barry?
That's Barry.
Yeah, it looks like Barry. Yeah,
I think that might be Lamont Wade.
I mean, look at the muscles on him. That's got to be Barry.
That's got to be Barry.
Definitely juicing.
That's
wow, look at those. Look at that V.
Seriously.
I like that. I got a little bend. So yeah,
it's got a little bend. It's not a John Deere fold, but it's got a bend.
Hey, it's a fun time to be a Bay Area sports fan.
Yeah.
Niners are rolling into the playoffs. I feel like they're coming out of the NFC, winning a Super Bowl. It's going to be challenging, but I think the Niners are coming out of the AFC. Warriors have been playing a better brand of basketball the last few weeks. It's been exciting to watch them again because, as I mentioned, I mean, there were a few weeks where it was just frustrating. Where they weren't playing any defense, and it just wasn't a Warriors style of basketball. So I'm glad to see that the level of play has stepped it up. The Western Conference is tight. It's like 5 games separate the first team to the 9th team. So I think the Warriors are going to climb up some spots. I think they're hovering around like the 9 spot right now.
Yeah, they'll move up. You're right.
Yeah, they're going to move up the ladder.
They'll move up. And, so Baller, one other question for you.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Niners. Great time to be in the Bay Area. Niners, Warriors rolling. Who's the black sheep of the Bay Area sports?
I mean, I'm not a hockey guy, so I'm gonna leave the Sharks out of it. But it's the Giants. I will say I like me some Mike Conforto. I was talking up Conforto on a previous.
He looked good
show
last year.
I love how there's just not even a
I don't think Conforto's had his best season as a pro.
I bet you anything that he whatever he did last year, he definitely kicks. He does way more this year than last year. I'm just saying. I just got a feeling,
I love how the A's
I'll bet he
starting
doubles
into
his hit
consideration.
production this year, at least.
What were you saying, Ryan?
I love how the A's aren't even a consideration.
What are the A's? What's the A's that you speak of?
Bay Area black sheep.
Yeah, I mean, I look at them as like already left to Vegas. They just haven't cleared out the building yet.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I think unfortunately the fans have as well. Someone says Mitchell Ness says I like the Sharks' new jerseys. MF says Conforto hasn't passed his physical.
Not yet.
Conforto can show up with no shoulders, one hand, and no feet. And they'd be like, you know what? He still passed. He passed. We can't afford to have somebody not.
It's only a 2-year. Don't worry about it. It's not 13.
Yeah, for 2 years. What do you need feet? All right.
Hey, Rogers is a big-time reliever, too. We got the better brother coming in. And Larry, you wanted a reliever. You were pounding the table.
I did. I would like a Aroldis Chapman now. Yeah, I would like to see the Giants get another offensive player. To me, their offense, if they even have just a little,
who's out there?
Few
Duvall,
injuries,
Adam Duvall's out there.
I don't like Adam Duvall.
What's his name?
Ryan Reynolds.
No, he played for the. I'm doing one of those blanks. McCutcheon's available, and they say I read something today. Top 10 guys that will benefit from without the shift. Andrew McCutcheon was listed in that top 10. Like his average, they expect to go way up without the shift. He pulled in. He's pretty much a dead pull hitter. So,
but he's right-handed. Isn't that almost always left-handed?
Yeah, but they shift on him.
Carlo Pieces, Larry Krueger, darling is Pavin Smith. Yes, I like Pavin Smith from the Diamondbacks. Farhan, get me Pavin Smith. Paging Pavin Smith. All right, Baller. Hey, we'll let you go, brother. Have a great rest of your night. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Baller.
Thanks, Baller.
Fellas.
Get some more hats with some with a curve in there. Love
Bay
those
Area Baller.
curves.
He's outstanding. All right, let's pay the bills, and then we have a couple Niner interviews. We could throw one of them your way coming up next on the Krueg Show. Hope you guys are enjoying it. More straight ahead after this.
Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number 925-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. Often imitated, never equaled.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
Hey, Pasquale. Hey, Pasquale. Dan. Hey, Pasquale. Dan. Hey, Pasquale. Dan Coccimilgio.
So New York Style Sausage was started over 70 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, you know, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never going to deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
Hey, do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
Hey, Pasquale. Dan Coccimilgio here for the Krueg Show. Just picked up for the very first time some of your New York style Italian sausage here at Sam's Club in Arizona. My wife just cooked it, and I'm about to take a bite. Man, this is good. Pasquale, when you winked and said you guaranteed we love it, you're right. This stuff is absolutely amazing. Best sausage I've ever tasted. Thank you, Pasquale.
Coming down the stretch on the Krueg Show, Dan Coccimilgio, Ryan Smith, still with us. We are 2 hours and 8 minutes into the live stream. And we were down in Ninerland today, caught up with Colton McKivitz, who has talked to us about fishing, hunting, crabbing. He always has something interesting to say, huh, Ryan?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Should we roll on that?
Yeah, here's a little Colton McKivitz from earlier today from Santa Clara before practice.
Here in the Niner locker room with Colton McKivitz, and we're getting down to week 18, and how's things? Obviously, the team's rolling 9 in a row. What's the vibe like in here?
Just another week. I mean, you keep wanting to replicate what we're doing, and it's just challenging ourselves to be the best we can every week, and just building on and correcting what we did wrong last week, and then obviously keep it rolling.
Yeah, what did you think of the Raider game overall? I mean, it was a good win on the road, good comeback. You guys were down 10. Give me your perspective on the game.
It was a heck of a confidence boost for the offense, and knowing that we can put up some points and come away with a win at the end of that, and just knows that we got each other's back, where it's special teams, offense and defense. So I think it was a really good win when we needed it.
Yeah, I mean, when you go from scoring 20 a game to like this stretch now where you guys are really scoring 30 almost every week, that's got to. I mean, I'm sure I talked to some of the corners. They're like, hey, it makes us feel better. The whole team just feels different when you're scoring 30 a week, 30 a game.
Yeah, and those we got a little, not a buffer, but it helps the defense know that they got a little room if things aren't going well, and also we got the confidence that they're gonna be the number one defense they have been all year. So we got each other's back, and that's just how it goes.
You're a veteran now. How difficult is it to beat a team in your division that second time around? Because you're now taking the Cardinals on for the second time this year.
It's tough. We've always had problems with Seattle, and then Arizona as well. It's a conference game. We've seen each other multiple times, and it is. But we kind of know what they're doing, and they know what we're doing. And usually the most physical team and the teams that don't make the mistakes, come out with wins in these games. So it'll be fun to play them again, and I think they'll be just as excited, even though it hasn't been the year they wanted.
If you want to know about a defensive lineman, the best guys to ask are the O linemen. Tell us a little bit about J.J. Watt. This is it for J.J. Watt, and you watch these guys on film, and you notice all the different nuances and what makes them good and special and different. Tell us about J.J. What do you see when you watch him?
Here's what he is. He's won Defensive Player of the Year multiple times, and his Hall of Fame career. So, I think he's the last one's going to be the show-out one. So I think we're going to expect a heck of a game from him, and for him to go hard as he always does. And I think it'll mean a little more to him being his last one, so we're going to be expecting that. And he just plays hard, and sometimes he's unpredictable, whether he spins out of a gap or kind of like a Donald. But it's going to be his last one, so he'll be juiced up.
Every guy in here pretty much hurt this time of year. I mean, whether you get hurt in practice, hurt in the game, is everybody battling something right now, or are there guys that literally can go through a football season, get to week 18, and they're still not banged up?
You're going to have a scratch. It's 100% injury rate in the NFL. So, guys are battling their own thing, and whether they decide to show it or not, that's their prerogative. And it doesn't matter at this point in the year. We're all gearing up for the playoffs and what run we want to have. So, it's the NFL. You're going to get hurt, and whether you do about it or how quickly you get back is up to you.
Banks went down this week. Brunskill stepped in. You guys have a really deep group. There's a lot of really good players on this team, or in this offensive line. Really on the team, but especially on the offensive line. And you're one of the veterans, but there's some young guys too. Do you say anything when you guys are watching film when you get to this time of the year about the fact that, hey, anybody could go in at any snap, really, you got to be ready?
I think we've done it. It goes back to development. Guys have stayed after mine practices and that kind of thing after practice, and, they all kind of realize that even though they haven't been through, I think, the upper guys of Mike and Trent and Jake and Dan have all, made them realize that, it's that time of year where you guys go down, and if needed, you need to play that at that level and be consistent with it. So, I think they're starting to realize that, these games mean more. We always talk about the ladder of the importance of these games in December and January. And, I think they've got a pretty good idea of, if they go in, then it's got to be a high level.
Last time we talked to you, you were telling us about your crabbing expedition during the bye week, I think. How was the holiday for you? What'd you do? Did you have family out, or how'd you celebrate?
No family out. Plane tickets are a little expensive, but no, I got to do some duck hunting. And
nice. Where at?
Like Sacramento area, up Yuba City, and then Calusa. And
what do you think of
Sushi Marsh? So
yeah, what do you think of our hunting in Northern Cal compared
That's
to West
awesome.
Virginia?
They keep it kind of hidden with everything else, but you get out. There's a lot of birds around here.
Yeah, and like if you were in West Virginia at Christmas time, what would you do? Is there hunting that you do in West Virginia, or is it still duck hunting?
Yeah, it's the same thing. Not as many birds, but same thing.
There you go. Tell us a little bit about what's the difference. You played in the playoffs last year. What is the difference between an NFL playoff game versus a regular season game, if somebody who's never experienced it before?
Oh, everything's faster. I mean, guys are juiced up. The games mean more, and the elite players everyone comes to play, so it doesn't matter, who it is. Guys are going to come to play juiced up, and it's life or death. So it's just me more, and guys are amped up for it.
Yeah. You guys this week could win. Philly could lose. You could be the 1 seed and have a bye, or you could be the 2 seed and not have a bye. How important is the bye? Or because I've heard other people argue, you want to stay sharp, and you stay sharp by keep playing. It's hard to turn it on and off. But what do you think of the bye? I mean, it's football. Obviously, more rest is good.
Yeah, I haven't experienced the bye. I know in 19 they did, and the way they talk about it just meant that much more guys being hurt and beat up from the season. They got an extra week to get back, and obviously that helped them in their run and going to the Super Bowl. So the bye means a lot. And if we're the 2 seed, we're the 2 seed. I think the biggest thing is us handling our business this week and taking care, and then the rest will handle itself. Whether the Eagles, whatever they do, and then the only thing that matters is us winning.
Football, you have to step in, and you don't know when you're going to step in. Brock had to step in that Miami game, and you guys have been rolling since. You really were rolling before, but tell us a little bit about your perspective on how he's played, because he's a third-string quarterback, and you don't get the feeling that guys in here don't think you have a chance. They feel like you got a great chance. Mm-hmm. So obviously that's a testament to the way he's played, but give me your perspective on it.
Yeah, I kind of got a glimpse of it in college when he used to beat us around, and he's just taking all his own and playing the way he he's used to playing ball, just being free, playing smart, keeping control of the ball, and just being confident in his play. I think that's the biggest thing is he hasn't hesitated and he's taking it full steam.
All right, man. Give us the evaluation. How are our questions this time around? I mean, compared to last time, were we on our game or
they're good. They're good.
Good stuff. Was I probing? I mean, is there anything that I didn't ask that you think? It was
that well-rounded.
Well-rounded. There
you
go.
Personal. You got the team.
Personal. There you go.
A couple guys. It was good.
You got any pet peeves you want to air here? Airing of grievances.
Oh, it was great.
Yeah, I like that it's like Yelp reviews for interviews.
Oh yeah, it was a good one this week. I liked it.
Thanks, Colton. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah, no problem.
There you go. Colton McKivitz, good dude, man. Definitely a good dude. I don't know if you guys can tell, but Colton is just a really, really solid guy all the way through. And a good football player who can play left tackle, left guard, right guard, center. So in other words, he can play it all. He can play every spot on that offensive line. MF says his dad makes hats out of raccoons. Yes, he does. And they're very handsome hats. Danny, you ever worn a raccoon hat?
Can't say that.
A la Daniel Boone.
You can't say that I have.
Oh man, Bay Area Ballers is fun dude. Yeah, he is. Colton is an interesting guy. And he's like one of those guys. Trent Williams always says that he's got great respect for Colton, in that Colton it's like he doesn't really fear anybody. You know what I mean? He's just like, he doesn't get too up, doesn't get too down. He's got it all in perspective. He's just one of those guys that, he loves to play the game, and he prepares to play, and he's a technician. He works at it, and he doesn't, if he's going up against somebody great, that's fine. If he's going up against somebody who's not great, that's fine. He doesn't get too high or low. He's very professional across the board if you watch him. And the Niners gave Colton a gold helmet designation in the draft, which they also gave to Hufanga, but it's like their highest grade for potential draftable players. If you get the gold helmet, you're thought to be like a guy who, is, very much at the top of their board. And Colton McKivitz, believe it or not, got a gold helmet. So they obviously feel very strongly that Colton's a hell of a player. MF says he was good enough week 18 last year. Absolutely. Tyler Choi says you should start him. They should start him over McGlinchey. We got this from Corey Cooper. He says, Larry, Ryan, most interesting, surprising 49er you've interviewed this season and why? That's interesting. Most interesting and surprising 49er we've interviewed this year and why?
I'm going to say from my guess, I'm going to say Ray McLeod.
Ray was good. There's no question.
I have a lot. They're all kind of blending together. So, but off the top of my head, just like Charvarius, I think, just being such so cool. But
Charvarius gave us a lot this time around for sure. Well, as far as interesting. I thought it was really interesting how incredibly smart and detailed Daniel Brunskill was. When we talked to him, I mean,
1, 2, 3, Brunskill.
He was incredible as far as he knew everything. I really enjoyed our conversation with Nick Zakel from Fordham, and I really liked the conversation we had with Josh Johnson. Who else? In my everybody, T.Y. McGill's been really, really good.
Yeah, like if you said at the beginning,
probably my favorite.
Yeah, but if you said like at the beginning of the season, like that's different than now, because for me, the most surprising / interesting stuff is when it's like, we're 4 weeks in and, we've interviewed a fair amount of the guys. We're getting a good feel of the room. But then all of a sudden, or let's say like 7 weeks in, all of a sudden, we get an interview with blank and then they turn out to actually be super chill and super cool. And you weren't expecting that. So from that standpoint, I mean, I got to say like Jordan Mason, honestly, was way cooler than I thought he'd be. Not a roast, but
I like Dre Greenlaw as far as, Greenlaw has some great answers. He loves to play. He loves to hit.
When did you guys interview the Falcons owner? I didn't know that.
Where does it say that?
Well, Ryan said he was when you interviewed blank. I'm assuming Arthur Blank.
Dan, I think you were shooting,
here's a good one.
A blank there.
I'm just having
we interviewed
fun.
Kamoko Toure, and I thought Kamoko Toure was really good.
Wide receiver, isn't he?
Yeah, no, defensive end.
Oh, that's right.
I would say Banks has been one of the guys I really enjoy.
You know what? I think Banks might be. It's tough, but Banks might be my favorite just because he was so. I remember the first interview we did with him, and we were kind of messy. We were doing we were still finding out what the hell we were doing. We were doing goofy ass shit, and like I remember Banks
he rolled with it.
No. At the beginning of the year, like I remember asking him something about like, hey, like, like how are you feeling about like that all of last year? Like all the media was just so negative about your play, now you got a chance just to, basically tell everyone to shove it or whatever. And then he's like, yeah, I don't care what the media thinks. No, nobody in this locker room listens to anything the media does. And like he was kind of like a little colder, and then now where you can see it on the field almost in his play as he realizes that like he can let his personality. He's played well enough that he's allowed to kind of like let his personality come out, and like you see him getting like fired up in the end zone now, and like now we do interviews with him. He's dropping F-bombs, S-bombs, like just being super loose with it.
I'll tell you another guy. I like Tabor Pepper.
Yeah,
You know,
I know. I have
Tabor
so much
Pepper's
recency
fun.
bias.
I like Tabor Pepper. Ashley says, Larry, I don't know if you guys can, but you guys should interview Brandon Ayuk. He seems really shy in a way that reminds me of Ward, and you guys were able to really get him to open up. That was a good interview, the Charvarius Ward. Well, you know, it's funny. We did interview Ayuk, and it's up somewhere.
Yeah, it is somewhere.
Maybe we should interview him again, though, because you're right. He's got a lot to say, and he does come across as kind of shy. But I think that's just kind of the way he talks. Like when you actually get him talking, he's pretty talkative.
Yeah, he is weirdly. I think he's just like also kind of burnt because like he has to do all he does all of the like the media, like the giant media gangbang situations. Like so I think he's kind of just like, like why would I don't want to have to do extra stuff. But it is funny how like his teammates always like if you go ask like oh shoot, who's next to him? The vet cornerback.
Who next to who?
Ayuk.
Oh, Dante Johnson.
Yes, Dante Johnson. We got a couple times at the beginning and throughout the season. I feel like because like also he's next to Ayuk, and we're definitely we're trying to show Ayuk that like, hey, look, we're cool. Like it's not gonna be bad. But then everyone always messes with him and is like, it's like, oh, why don't you interview Ayuk? Like because I think they know that he's just like pretty shy.
Yeah, we did a fun interview with Alfredo Gutierrez before Mexico City. And then Marcelino McCrary Ball is such a great guy. We asked him for an interview today, and he had to go somewhere, and he's like, thanked us. You know, he was like checked with us like 2 different times to like make sure it was cool that he couldn't do it this time. He's great. He's truly great. Jason Poe has a terrific personality. The guard, he's a lot of fun. We got a lot of hits on our interview with Kalia Davis. The guys that we haven't interviewed yet that I really would like to interview would be like Trey Lance,
a one-on-one with Bosa,
Janoris Jenkins. I'd like to talk to. I think he's interesting.
Wow, Jenkins he really clutched it in that threesome right there. Just to Trey Lance and Bosa and
then
Jenkins.
Janoris Jenkins. Yeah. As far as we haven't gotten Debo yet because some of these guys have to go to the podium all the time. You know,
yeah, I did get him to do a promo for TalkSport though, and but then I don't think for Sky Sport, but then they never used it because he didn't take his shirt off.
There's a really cool infrared healing room that Kyle Juszczyk uses right off to the side of the locker room, and I'm intent on getting an interview with Juszczyk inside the infrared room. I don't know what it would do to the camera.
Because it's like you see that and you're like, wow, that looks like probably just pretty nice. And like, if it could just make me feel also like that much better, like Juice it's like, he's a reliable guy. Like he's always healthy and he's always awesome and he does it. And he's a smart guy. So I kind of want to like pay. I feel like the athletes, like they get access to all this stuff before it hits the retail market, you know?
Oh, I know. I mean, it's like 3 years from now, we're all going to be walking around. Hey, what'd you get for Christmas? Oh, I got one of those infrared rooms that, people will be.
Dan, do you have any idea what we're talking about?
Danny's muted.
An infrared room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I've got this.
It's crazy.
It looks like Dan, you are walking into like a 90s, bank heist where it's just like all these just red lights, all just red. I think you just stand there. I have no idea if it makes you warm. I've been in an
infrared machine where they it's kind of like a tanning booth where you lay in it. And
it's for your skin. Like Juice had like shorts on and no shirt on when he was in there. So it's obviously about your skin.
Your skin absorbs it. Maybe it's something with like the mitochondria or like something.
That would be freaking cool to do an interview in the infrared room. Because I mean, it would look like what would the camera do in that situation?
I don't know, but imagine just how smart we'd be. if we were well, that also would mean that we'd have to do it shirtless if we really wanted to enjoy the.
Yeah. MF says Armstead seems like a nice guy. We were actually asked Armstead to come on today, but he had a taped interview with somebody else scheduled.
He's low-key been a little grumpy.
Yeah, he's a little. Well,
but you know that he's the nicest guy and the biggest teammate guy. You know, he's doing is like he's like kind of being a little like dickish so that like it's like draw. You know what I mean? Like he's protecting like all the youngins like Kinlaw. If he knew that we had those great interviews with Kinlaw, he would be super awesome because I've heard him be awesome.
Oh, no. Armstead is awesome when you get him going. G-Code Travels Vlog POV says, here's $4.99. If Bosa doesn't tie or beat Alden Smith's sack total, Alden had healthy Cowboy. Bosa didn't have a healthy Armstead this season. Bosa could have had 22.5. Heck, Bosa could have had 22 plus easily if Kyle didn't pull him out of that game late.
I got a question for G-Code. How long did it take you to come up with that username?
The G-Code Travels Vlog POV.
Yeah, that's quite
rolls off the tongue.
G-Code Travels Vlog POV.
I do. I mean, it does. It's like pretty. I mean, it's like kind of like it's like Bay Area Sports Live. Like it's just like that is like he probably is G-Code and he probably travels around and does a vlog that's point of view.
Mitchell and Ness. Debo seems a little annoyed with the media.
Maybe
just the vibe I get.
He'll like stand next to me while I'm doing while I'm like filming. Like he'll like come up to the camera and he like a lot of times he like stands right next to me. So like he's definitely he's fucking with me because it's like if I he's like trying to make me get nervous or something. Debo.
Well, guys, good stuff. 12:15. We're 2.5 hours into the live stream.
I got a little trivia game for you, Larry.
You got a little trivia game? Go ahead.
Yeah, see if you're.
Someone says, is Warner good for interviews? Warner's another guy that's so coveted that he's a great interviewer.
They're very I feel like they're just a little bit more guarded, but it would be great to get them in a room. Like
if you got them in a one-on-one, you can get great stuff. If you don't get them one-on-one, then it's a little bit more difficult.
Yes.
How degree of difficulty you want? Easy to start off with, or a little more?
What is it?
Oh, this is just I'm in. I'm down for some trivia.
Sports trivia.
Yeah.
Oh, go. Make it as hard as you want. Go ahead.
All right.
Do we have to make a noise like to buzz in?
All right. Yeah.
You got to answer in a question form, like Jeopardy.
Okay. Broncos quarterback.
Who is
Broncos quarterback Peyton Manning, when he was with the Broncos, was named Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. It was the first time he took the honor. The winner of the award in 2000 was the first athlete to win it for a second time. Name that athlete if you can.
In 2000?
Yeah, he won it the second time.
I'll say Derek Jeter.
No?
I'm going to say
they won the World Series, the Subway Series.
Ooh.
MF says you guys talked to Tim Ryan off the record yet? Not yet, but we will. We will. I promise. I will call. I'll put it on my list. Call Tim Ryan. Damn, I gotta write it down. I always just forget MF.
Is it Lance Armstrong?
I'm probably thinking at this point, Larry doesn't know Tim Ryan. Larry's not gonna be able to get Tim Ryan. No.
Is it
Tiger? We're gonna play this
I
game.
Will get Tim Ryan. Larry? I just have to remind myself. Call Tim Ryan.
Wait. This is a tough. Like, okay, shit. Yeah, Tiger Woods.
T-Rock.
You got it.
MF.
You got it.
Oh,
Tiger? I got it.
That's some good. Okay, it's kind of scary when you expand out into like the golf universe and like I always forget like Phelps.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
could have been Brandy Chastain.
All right, let me look up the next one here. All right, so let me pull it back up here. All right. Everyone knows that Hall of Fame great Michael Jordan played his college ball at North Carolina.
Right.
But playing for the Tar Heels wasn't his first choice. In fact, he actually rooted for NC State while growing up. Who did his
I was going to say NC State.
Who did he originally want to play for?
Came out in the doc. Hold on a second. Who did?
Wait, no. You can't look it up. Don't look it up.
Who?
Oh,
me?
Yeah.
I'm not looking at it.
Okay. Good.
Just trying to think because I watched the documentary.
Yeah. The mental Rolodex.
I know his mom. It was about where he had visited somewhere. Was it Vegas? UNLV?
No. Close, right?
This is a lot of
mom
pressure.
made him go to North Carolina.
This is a lot of pressure. I'm at the free throw line. I'm probably getting clanked.
It was in the dock. I forget.
I know.
Far away from his home.
Okay, then UCLA.
Ding, ding, ding. Rye hits it again. 2-0. 2-0 Rye over Larry. Wow. Okay.
That was an absolute prayer.
Number 3.
All right.
Back in the day, ESPN college football analyst Lee Corso actually played college football. In the mid-50s, he attended Florida State and roomed with another notable Knowles player who would go on to be a ridiculously famous actor.
Burt Reynolds.
You got it.
That's it. Burt Reynolds.
Okay.
Who was married to?
I don't know.
Goldie Hawn?
What?
No. Was he married to Goldie Hawn?
No.
I don't know. Who the heck was
Lonnie
he married?
Anderson.
My
that's
knowledge,
right, Lonnie Anderson.
you got to
That's
remember, like, I didn't have I haven't been able to download like all of this pop culture. I tried to.
MF says an interview with Gabe Kapler would be interesting. I don't know. I don't think I could do that right now without swearing.
Okay.
First question.
Florida State's Jameis Winston became the youngest player to win the Heisman in December 2013. The oldest winner also happened to play for Florida State, too. Who is he and how old was he when he won?
The oldest winner of the Heisman played for Florida State. Chris Winkie.
Yeah. How old was he?
26.
25. Not right.
24.
No, go ahead. You got to guess, Rye.
Oh, that's not fair. You got to give him that one. Like
Chris Winkie. I don't get the fucking answer.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you got it right. But how old? You got
20.
I
27.
I could just spam numbers right now. Like,
It's
Take
like
a guess, Rye.
24.
I'm gonna guess that he was 36.
28. All right, 28. Okay.
What is Brandon Whedon?
I'll bet you. I'm gonna guess Larry knows this right away, but not Rye.
Oh no, I'm gonna blow a 3-1 lead.
Which boxer was 42-1 underdog when he KO'd Mike Tyson?
Buster Douglas.
You got it. Did you know it, Rye?
I
didn't think so.
It was gonna take me I would have had to go for 3 minutes, and then I would have had it between him.
Who
and
is Buster Douglas? Oh, sorry.
Which famously rotund athlete once scarfed down a dozen hot dogs and shotgun 8 bottles of soda in between games?
Babe Ruth.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Who is Babe Ruth?
Yeah. Who is Babe Ruth? Okay. Rye will know this one, but Larry will too.
Starting to heat up.
Okay. What Lakers coach trademarked the term three-peat?
Pat Riley.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is one. This is kind of an oldie. The NCAA tournament was a very streamlined affair when it began in 1939. Selection Sunday was certainly less time consuming because only this many teams made the tournament.
16.
32.
No, one more guess.
Larry, your turn.
8 it is.
Oh, dang it.
Okay, let's see.
But it wasn't quite as big as an accomplishment to make it to the Final Four back then.
This is kind of an interesting one. The first athlete to fail an Olympic drug test. This is how far we've come. The first athlete to fail an Olympic drug test was Swedish Pan athlete Hans Gunnar Linnenwall in 1968. What drug did he test positive for? This is crazy.
Nandrolone? I don't know.
Toradol?
No. This is 1968.
Acid.
No. That's a good guess, though.
Yeah. Mushrooms.
Yeah. I can't even believe this was considered a drug. The answer? Beer. A guy had a beer in the Olympics banned a beer. That's crazy.
That's one of the most wild facts I've ever heard.
Isn't that?
Beer.
Beer.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Do I have any? Yeah, these
The
are
pace of these questions is
figure skate. I'm trying. Yeah. Okay. Here's a good one.
It makes for good drama, though.
What golfer led the PGA Tour in driving distance for 8 years during
John
the
Daly.
90s? Yeah, you got it. Okay.
It's not my first rodeo.
Here's an interesting one. Today's World Series winners receive championship rings, as is customary in most American sports, but that wasn't always the case. What did players receive instead of rings prior to 1926?
Medals?
Kind of, but
ribbons.
No.
Awards? Or I mean, sorry, trophies. I meant to say trophies.
No.
Gift certificates?
Yeah, to McDonald's.
Chicken cents from KFC?
No. You got one more guess in you each.
You know, I just saw a pretty good guess in the chat, but I can't disrespect the game like that.
Oh, money.
So now I can't use that guess.
No, it's not that.
You see how I just got you to
rare gems.
You see how I just got you to give me the answer?
Oh.
Okay. This is
Take a
shocking.
while.
Completes.
Jackets.
No. Pocket watches
What
or
the-
medallions. Yeah,
Okay.
Pocket watch.
You're getting very sleepy. Very sleepy.
All right, here's a good one. I think Larry will know this. Rye may, because it's such a interesting trivia question. Who caught Brett Favre's first regular season pass completion when he was playing for the Falcons in 1991?
Andre Bad Moon Rising.
That would be
Dion.
Brett Favre.
Rye? You got it. It was a deflection. Came back. He caught his own pass.
Wow.
Rye catch.
How'd you guess that?
I seem to remember that. Like,
I think hands should be on the table.
Hands?
I want to see hands. I don't want to. Don't be the Googler. Even if they're Danny's small hands, I want to see.
You know what? All right, I'm gonna go on the boob tube here.
Here's Dan's hands. Here's our hands.
Remember when people used to call it a boob tube?
Dan's hands, our hands. Dan's hands, our hands.
All right, I got to back up the field of view.
All right.
All right.
Here, I'll keep the mic there.
Look at that.
There's some perspective.
Where's Ringo?
Right. Hold on here.
Oh no!
I gotta find
Ringo.
Oh, there he is. I see him.
Hey, Ringy.
I ran out of.
He's got a nice little handkerchief going.
Oh yeah, I actually just got him a jacket. It's gonna be so cute. Because of all this rain. It's a reversible. On one side is.
Did he ask for it?
Oh
What
yeah.
if he wants to return it?
Well, I mean, tough luck.
Forget that one.
You must dance when I want you to dance.
Roof, roof.
All right, I'm running out of. Okay, here we go.
Material?
This is easy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to just
easy.
keep my hands
Here's
up.
an easy one. All right, here we go. I want to hear it. Shout it out quick. How long is a marathon?
What?
How long is a marathon?
26.5 miles.
No, you're both wrong.
26 miles.
You're wrong.
Over under that quarterback.
What is it?
Dude.
Over.
26 point something miles.
Yep.
26.
Paul Perriman gets the answer in this chat.
26.2 miles.
26.2.
It's close enough. Fuck. 26 miles. It's not.
What is the
you're
only
not giving
country?
it to me off 26 miles.
We just finished the World Cup. What is the only country to play in every single soccer World Cup?
Brazil.
Yep. This is an interesting one. Done it once.
What do you call it when a bowler makes 3 strikes in a row? Oh, come on.
I know. I mean, I think I know.
A triple? I don't know.
No.
Dude, it is coming down outside right now.
I know, dude. That's why Ringo needs that jacket.
G. Martinez.
I mean, it's really coming down.
G. Martinez gets the answer. Turkey.
A turkey.
Really?
Yeah, you never heard that? You never.
Corey
bowled
Cooper
much,
knew
have you?
too. Turkey. Give me a turkey.
I simply need to have my arms crossed. So
that's too easy. I'm not even going to ask that.
Corey says he's lucky. Yeah, right. Come on, you've lived a little, Corey.
Who has appeared on the most Sports Illustrated covers?
Jackie Robinson?
No. Muhammad Ali?
No. Oh, that's a good guess.
Michael Jordan?
Yep. 11.
The GOAT.
I was going to guess Montana.
What team owns the longest winning streak in NBA history?
Lakers.
Yeah, I think it was 30.
33.
Yeah, I remember it. Okay. These are. What was the first city to host the Olympics twice?
Berlin?
No.
Moscow?
No.
London?
No. It's in France.
Paris?
Yeah. All right, here's an interesting one. This one I think is
just came on the point.
I think this one's gonna trick you guys.
That is just ridiculous. That's a ridiculous hint. You could have said something way better.
I didn't want to drag it on.
I thought for sure it was going to be some deep cut.
All right, this one is going to trick you guys, I think.
When the host is impatient.
Yes. What's the national sport of Canada?
Lacrosse.
You got it. How did you know that?
I played lacrosse
Larry's
in high school and college.
Oh, okay. I always thought it was hockey.
No, it's lacrosse. Lacrosse is the Canadian game.
Okay. Here's an interesting one. This is kind of crazy. Never heard this trivia. How many dimples does an average golf ball have?
288. No, I have no idea.
500?
No, Larry.
No,
was
it's like
closer.
275 or something like that.
It's 336.
Oh, okay.
That would just be.
I mean, it is dumping outside right now. I mean, it's ridiculous how much rain is coming down.
It's ridiculous.
Surprised we're not have the power outage.
Oh, it's a coming.
Oh, this is wild. How many minutes? This is crazy. Was the longest recorded point in the history of tennis? Oh my goodness. I can't even believe that.
2 days?
No. I would say 18 minutes, which just seems like a ridiculous amount of time.
That's
too much.
Hands up, Ryan. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. We can see he's in pocket. Okay. What do you think, Rye? Wild stab.
18 hours.
Come on.
25 minutes.
That's close. What do you think, Rye?
Oh.
36 minutes. Haruku Itoki.
30.
No. Rye's been the closest.
This has just become, a number.
29 minutes. Can you imagine? I think there's been sets that have been matches probably that have been
sets. I wasn't sure.
I would say a match has been completed in women's tennis before 29 minutes. Quick 6-0, 6-0.
I think I might have to go to sleep after all this tennis talk.
Yeah,
this just puts me right to sleep.
Tennis. No, we could get crazy if we want to go, but I'm not going to go there.
Just give us one more, damn it.
One more good one. Okay.
An oldie but a goodie.
Do you have sports media ones? I feel like that would be fun. Sports media trivia. Which
Carlo P.
ESPN personality once said that LeBron James
MF Gary. Everybody shut up.
Let me find a good one that you guys. Interesting. I don't know how old this trivia question, these questions are. So I'm going to ask this. I don't know if it's still true. What are 2 states in the United States that have yet to send a team to the NC2A?
Say that again.
North Dakota and South Dakota?
Alaska.
Alaska's one.
That's no doubt. And I would say no. Alaska and
Kind of the other end of the country.
New Mexico? No. Yeah, New Mexico.
No.
They went. New Mexico went?
Yeah, New Mexico's gone to the NC2A.
Tournament? I'm thinking Final Four.
Mike.
Is it?
I'm going to close it with the last one. Okay, the answer to that one is
what?
You want the second state? Rye, you got any guesses?
Maine.
You got it. Maine. Took it out of Rye's mouth. Okay, so the last one. What is the only U.S. city to win 3 of the 4 major professional sports? We're talking NFL, NBA, MLB, and NHL. Which of the city won 3 of the 4 major professional sports championships in the same year?
Pittsburgh. Steelers, Penguins.
Boston.
Not the same year.
I thought it was 79. I thought 79. Wasn't it 79? 79 Steelers, 79 Pirates, 79 Penguins. No?
No.
Okay. He said Boston. That probably sounds right.
Oh my God, was it LA with the Rams and the Lakers and the Dodgers?
No. 2020. I think the Dodgers and the Lakers got the fake ones, but no Rams. The
Rams. Yeah, you're right.
This doesn't tell me the year though, but tells me the city. I'm trying to think.
St. Louis.
What year it had?
They don't have 3 teams. They only the Blues. They only have 2, right? The Blues and the Cardinals.
It must have been.
I guess they had the Rams.
I wonder if it was 80. It's saying Detroit. When did Detroit do all 3?
Detroit 84.
84, the Tigers.
84 Red Wings, but the Lions didn't win.
The Bad Boy Pistons.
Did the
84?
Pistons
Not
win
in 84.
No, not in 84.
Pistons won in 90. It could have been.
Must have been in the 40s or something. But maybe it was 67. Tigers win in 67. They beat the Cardinals.
No, the Cardinals won in 67.
Cardinals won in 67. 7 games. That's right.
Cardinals beat the Tigers in 67.
Right.
Gibson.
Wait, Dan, do you have the answer?
It says Detroit. This is, but it doesn't tell me the years.
Oh,
all right. Go with a different one then. Let's go with a better finishing question.
Yeah, that was a total dud.
Total dud.
All right.
Does Haruku Itoki, does it include the WNBA? No, it does not.
These are weak. These are too many weak ones. Let's find one. Find one here.
Here we go.
Geez.
Carlo P has a question. Which baseball players were Giants this offseason, but no longer than a week?
Oh, that's a
good one. That's a really good trivia question. Yeah.
yeah. That's yeah.
You know, I'm going to say this. I was thinking about this during the break, and I meant to come back with it. I've been really ticked off kind of about this whole thing, the way the Giants treated Brian Sabian. The man came in 1996 at the offseason Giants were last place, okay? They're coming off a last place. The guy has gonads. He comes in and trades a fan favorite, Matt Williams, his first move as GM, right? And everybody's just ripping him. Like, what are you doing? And he, to the point where he had to come on and say, I know what I'm doing.
He said, I'm not an idiot.
I'm not an idiot. Yeah. So then the Giants go on to win the division in 97 and have 8 successive winning seasons. 97 to 04. They have,
it's like this last trivia question brought to you by Dan's final thought.
My final thought. I got to get this off. I'm really ticked.
Get off.
So 05 to 08, they're kind of struggling, especially 05 through 07, but they're rebuilding. They got Kane drafted. They got Lincecum, Mad Bum, Buster, Sandoval. All of a sudden, from 2009 to 2016, they win 3 World Series. The only losing season is 2013, right? They have a crappy year in 17 and 18, and they say, we got to go in another direction. The club is outdated. This is a new era. Now, you got a guy who's came in, turned it around. It naturally, cyclically went down, and then he brought it back again, and then it went down. You don't think he would have done it again? This is one of the brightest baseball minds around. The Giants had him, and it's like...
Well, no, but Danny, you're glossing over the biggest part. The biggest part is that the Giant ownership group and the Giant organization have made it seem like Boch and Sabes wanted to retire.
No, you know what happened?
I think they did. I think they totally
did.
Definitely.
You think
they totally made it seem like these guys
but they didn't want to retire.
And they didn't want to retire.
No, right. That's what I'm saying. They didn't want to retire. I'll tell you what I think happened.
That's the
McGowan passed away in early 2019. I don't think any of this would have happened if Peter McGowan was still, heavily involved at the top of that ownership group. When he left, it was like the baseball life. That Peter McGowan loved baseball.
I'll go even more particular. I think it's when Ned Colletti left and Bobby Evans took over, because Ned was getting great free agent deals signed, very advantageous deals. And you look at even the Barry Bonds contracts were reasonable that Ned signed.
Right.
Evans gave Cueto that ridiculous 6-year contract with the 2-year out.
It was a rough
and
contract.
Traded, gave $90 million to Smarja, $17 million a year. Traded, Andrew McCutchen, or traded Brian Reynolds for Andrew McCutchen. Didn't handicap his own system well. I think when Ned left and Brian was giving Ned a lot of responsibility. And then they just shifted that responsibility to Evans, and Evans wasn't ready for it.
Right.
I think that's clear what happened there. But and also, let's be honest, the Giant farm system, even during much of the Sabian era and recently now with Farhan, they haven't hit. They've missed.
Right. Can you play that short that we just created about Ned and the agent? It came out today. Do you have it, Rye? I watched that and I sent it to somebody. I said, man, the Giants were respected. Look at the type of.
Do you have the
guys.
I tweeted it out.
Did you tweet it out?
Yeah, I tweeted it
I
out.
love that quick little short with Ned telling the story about
it's actually about 2 minutes long or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe 2.5.
It was great. It was live last night, but tell the story.
Do we have that right? Can you pull that off my Twitter?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I didn't realize you tweeted it. I saw it come across today, and I watched it. And I just the whole story. I mean, could you imagine Farhan saying, "Tell me the gate, the flight number"? Jeez.
I asked Ned last night, for those of you, just to set this up, if we can find it. I asked Ned, I said, I think Vicky Pelich had put in the chat, Sabian had all this great passion and he showed it when they won in 2010, and it was so emotional. And I mentioned to Ned that, that he's an emotional guy and Brian's an emotional guy, and that they both have their set, Sabe's always kept it real low key on the radio, but that you could always tell he had just this bubbling temper and didn't suffer fools gladly at all. And then I asked Ned, I said, what times do you remember where Brian got the angriest? And he's like, well, 3 come to mind. And then he explained them to us. And Ned is a great storyteller, so it would be worth playing again if we can get it. And then the best one was this agent who talked trash, who basically, called Sabian gutless, right? And then Sabian had a great response for him. Ned's like, I think you maybe ought to tell Brian that yourself. I mean, just when he's telling us that story, I can picture Brian and I can picture Ned saying that, and it's like, oh my God.
All right, we get ready, because I'm gonna share the short, but in order to do that, because the short just plays automatically, so I have to just
mute ourselves.
Well, no, I just got to fire onto. I got to fire you'll see. Look, I have to fire the website.
And so the agent tells me, your boss is so gutless. He makes you deliver the dirty work all the time. He is gutless. And I says, you know what? That's probably something he ought to hear. And he says, well, put him on the phone. So I hang up and I go to his office and I tell him the story. And so I dial up the agent. I says, here, you can tell him what you just told me. He's anxious to hear it. And so he gets the guy on the phone, and the guy tells him, and he says, I hear the guy say, and I'm going to come to San Francisco and kick you behind.
What?
And Sabe says, give me the flight number and the gate, and I'll meet you there.
No way.
And so the agent tells me,
oh, now it's just restarted. That is an all-time line.
It was so classic. That was the best story.
That was. Jesus, I want to watch them in a buddy cop movie. Just Sabian and Ned.
I guess they're like Starsky and Hutch, the two. I mean, gosh, they had the best. They had the best. The Giants from 97 to 04 were the third best record in baseball. They were consistently good. And then to go into another
it amazed me how many people ripped Sabian today and were like, he was you're singing his praises and he was the reason the thing fell apart and blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, so wait a second. You're going to rip Sabes because he may have shown a little bit too much loyalty to the 3-time World Series champions that he was the architect of, that he may have stayed with a couple of these guys a few too many years later, and they had a couple down seasons on the back end.
Well, come on, Larry. It's not like Bob Myers is going to do that.
But you're going to sit there and bury Sabian, but then say Farhan deserves more of a chance when Farhan's in year 5 and they don't have a single guy in their lineup that Farhan drafted, developed, and promoted to the majors.
The only guy that's made it to the majors, one guy, and I'm convinced they brought him up last year because Cole Waits, a guy that was
nobody gives a shit about relief pitchers.
Exactly.
It's all about your position players and your starters.
Yes, exactly. I mean, I can bring.
I was just sorry. There's a little bit of a non sequitur, but it would be hilarious to go back and put together a couple minute reel of some good moments of us at the beginning of the Giants season, a quarter of the way through, where we're all talking hey,
they got a shot. Hey, they look good.
Yeah, they're going to the World Series.
This is a 90+ team. Yeah,
90-win team. They're looking good. They're coming on.
That over was a lock at 86.
By the end, it was toxic. Couldn't even talk about it.
That was an abusive relationship.
It was bad. It was bad. I don't know.
Man.
I signed up yesterday to do a Giants podcast with a Giants player. So we're going to be doing that. I'll have more details on that forthcoming in the days ahead. But, man, I got to question myself. I don't know if I can make it through an entire Giants season without just totally ripping the shreds out of them, especially when they're bad. I mean, it's like, especially when if it just goes the way it's looking right now, I mean, I think they're last. I don't even think they're third. I think they're last.
Well,
because they're going to have injuries,
yeah,
and then when they have even the regular amount of injuries, they're so relatively thin right now that unless they add like 5 more major league caliber good options throughout their roster, they're going to suffer just a normal number of injuries, and then they're just going to sink like a stone. That's what I see. Maybe I'm wrong. I've been wrong before, but whatever.
Well, like I said to you the other day, I hope I'm wrong with the Giants this year. Don't want to forecast them to be 4th or 5th in the division or even 3rd. I want them to be in the playoffs, but I'm just looking at this thing from an objective point of view. You got Conforto and Haniger on the corner outfield, both coming off, played a combined 57 games last year between the two of them. What are the odds that they both revert back to their best years? And then you've got, Yaz, who's had 2 declining years in center. Who's on first? I don't know. JD Davis, Wilmer Flores, and Lamont Wade, and maybe David VR. I don't know. And
come on.
And then here's the thing. I looked at
how has this turned into
schedule.
15 minutes of complaining about the Giants?
I know.
Listen to their schedule, guys.
Give it a break. Who cares?
Listen to their schedule, and we'll close with this.
We know their schedule.
No, opening schedule. First 31 games.
Oh, you're not going to – do not list 31 teams.
I'm just going to tell you what I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be 10 or 11-20. They open up with 3 against the Yankees. That's a sweep.
I'm not going to put you on my podcast if you're going to be that negative.
Oh,
I need positivity on my pod.
I think they're going to be 30-1.
Yeah, MF says Yaz and Wade will be DFA'd by the end of the season. Those guys are hitting 1-2 opening day. There's your trivia question. What baseball team in 2022 DFA'd their leadoff hitter and their number 2 hitter before the end of the season? The 2023 Giants. Ding, 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 ding. Winner.
The bad part about the Giants this season is the
bad part. What's the good part?
Well, I guess the rough part is this.
I'm sorry, boys. I think I got a jet pretty soon because I'm all messed up sleep-wise from this whole catastrophe in Vegas.
I'm going to let you go. We're going to close, but I want to just say this.
I mean, I'll close, but just how much longer are we going to talk about the Giants?
1 minute. Listen to this opening month. I'm not going to name each. I'm just serious. The Yankees on the road, White Sox, then home to Casey. Then
you're just slowly negotiating with us to be able to say every team on the
no, but they've got 6 playoff teams in their first 10 series. They got the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Cardinals, and the Padres and the Astros.
They're going to win 2 out of 3 in every one of those series.
So if they start off rough, now listen to this. You got the Warriors starting the playoffs in mid-April.
Dan, are you auditioning for the podcast?
And then I am saying that after that,
wait a second. I've got one quick thought on that.
Playoffs of the Warriors.
What do you think of this, Danny? What do you think of this?
Yeah, never met a man